Hello and welcome to the Switchrpg podcast. I am one of your hosts, Gio, and I'm joined by just Johnny.
Yo.
Here he is, and he's been traveling a little bit.
I've been traveling,
You've been traveling.
Out and about.
Out and about. All right. If this is the first time you listen to the show from Switchrpg, where we bring you the latest in the world of RPGs on the Nintendo Switch. This week, we're talking about our Switchrpg awards. We have our own list here.
Yes, we do.
It took us quite a while, a lot of arguing, fist fights, blood, crying, mostly by me, but that's okay.
No, I was crying too.
All right, well, we made up our own definitive list. But
sacrifices were made.
Yes, there were many sacrifices made. Now, we also have our list going up on the website, switchrpg.com, along with some Twitter polls that the peoples can vote on, so they have their influence as well.
Just like the Game Awards.
Well,
have you been voting for that?
I voted. You know how many fake? I mean, yes, I voted for that. I did not make any fake accounts.
Did you see what today's results are? Today's day 3.
Day 3,
and it's just down to like the remaining 4.
Okay.
It's what is this? Death Stranding last.
Oh boy.
Followed by Smash, second to last.
Okay.
But double the. I think it's like double the percentile as
right.
Death Stranding. Then it's a question of one of the following at number 1, which is Fire Emblem and Star Wars, the two games that weren't nominated
at all.
And they're the 2 number 1s.
You know, you got to wonder how much of it is kind of like just a little bit of backlash. But
guess which one is number 1?
Would it be Fire Emblem? Or no, it's Star Wars. I did see it. Is it Star Wars?
You did not see it because it is Fire Emblem.
Oh, you almost had me. I thought it was. Maybe they've been switching positions. Are they that close?
They're not that close.
Okay.
When I last looked, I believe Fire Emblem was like 8 or 9% higher.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Or maybe 5%. It was like, it wasn't within 1 or 2%.
Sure.
That much I know.
Well, I think, like I said, I think a lot of it is sort of the backlash, but, you know, whatever.
Deservedly.
It does.
Deservedly.
It deserves to be on the list. Whether or not it wins, that's totally another thing, but it definitely deserves to be on that Game of the Year.
Absolutely. Talk. Smash is going to win it. But Fire Emblem deserves to be on that list.
Sure. It definitely, like I said, it definitely deserves to be there. So yes, don't forget to join our Discord, discord.switchrpg.com, as well as follow us on Twitter, @SwitchRPG. We got merch, we got Patreon, and speaking of Patrons, we have to give a shout out to Hedge Knight Mike, Sprinklins, DJ Atkins,
Eat that meat, drop that beat,
Michael C, and the Sequel Violus. We're gonna call him Sequel Violus because that's all we got.
Yep.
So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over what I'm playing, because I know you have a little bit of a story to go along with what you've been playing.
A little bit of a side quest.
Very much a side quest. So for me, I've been doing a lot of the Children of Morta, Divinity Original Sin 2, so not much has changed on that aspect, but I did add 2 new games to my roster. One of which is Trials of Mana. So I recently got the Collection of Mana. And I've been really psyched, really pumped up for this new one that's coming out.
The remake.
The remake of Trials of Mana. And I'm like, all right, I got to get really intimate with some of these characters. Yep. You know, they keep coming out with these characters, trailers and whatnot. So I started playing Trials of Mana. It's pretty good. I actually like it.
Yeah.
And I never played it. And the reason why I never got to play it, because it never really came to us.
Yeah.
So it's finally here. Finally get to play it. And it doesn't really beat out my Secret of Mana. I really absolutely, that's one of my all-time favorites, I think.
Does it suffer from the combat slowdown that Secret of Mana had?
You mean later in the game?
Nah, it happens very early in the game, especially when you're charging up your weapon.
There's a little bit of that. Yeah, there's a little bit of that. You got to remember, this is an older game. There weren't many quality of life fixes in these. They're more direct ports.
Well, that doesn't excuse it. I mean, there's been plenty of Super Nintendo games that run with very awesome frame rates and
Sure.
don't have those slowdowns.
Okay. Well, you're talking after an enemy is just destroyed, or you're talking during the...
It depends. Usually, I think it's like in some areas where there's more than like 3 enemies,
Okay.
along with your 3 party members.
If that's what you're talking, I don't see any of that.
No slowdown.
No
on
slowdown.
Trials versus
On Trials
Secret.
versus...
You know what I'm talking about? It's
OG,
Secret, though, right?
Yeah, in the OG Secret.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's in the Collection of Mana.
Okay.
Because I haven't played it in the Collection of Mana.
Yep.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about in the cartridge
Yeah.
version.
It's a slight annoyance. It happens a lot in just old school games, especially NES games.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot going on. You just kind of a slow motion type of effect. Not on purpose effect, but
It almost, I can't remember if it ever happened on any of the NES like Mario games. The Mario games, from what I remember, they all ran like really well.
yeah. Well, I don't know if you have that much stuff going on in some of those Mario games.
Mario 3 had a lot of stuff. That had an angry sun charging after you, man. That is some graphics right there.
It definitely doesn't happen in Trials of Mana. Not that I recall. Now that you mention it, I'll probably notice it everywhere.
Yep.
But I don't recall it. It didn't affect the way I enjoyed it. Also, I am playing Star Ocean First Departure R. This is a game we mentioned last week as coming out soon. I got it. I actually really like it.
And you're playing it on Switch?
I am playing it on the Switch, yes.
Because it also came out on PS4.
PS4,
Or
yeah.
it's coming out on PS4.
I think it did come out on PS4, same day.
Wait. So, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yep.
So same day release, but either way, I'm playing it. I don't have a PS4. If you want to lend me one forever, I'll be your best friend.
I'm good, man. I mean, at this point, if you don't have one, why jump in? Because there's a new consoles coming out.
Eventually. Maybe that's when I'll jump into the PS4 when there's like no one wants it.
I am looking forward to the day when the PS5 comes out, and then I can get all the good PS4 games at dirt cheap prices.
Yeah. That was the time to get in when Xbox One, because I started collecting a lot of the older Xbox 360 games and whatnot. But anyway, Star Ocean First Departure R is really fun, really exciting. Again, it's kind of...
Really old.
It is very old.
Even for a remake, it's still old because it was a PSP game.
Yeah, it's a PSP port over. It looks maybe a little bit better, but not by much. PSP, I mean, didn't look that bad in my opinion. PSP looked pretty decent.
It looks very similar to, I think it's Final Fantasy 6 or 5 that they kind of like gave a semi 3D update remake update on the DS or 3DS.
There's a little bit of some up-resing in this. I think for the PSP version does have the widescreen, right?
Not sure about that, but it has what I'm talking about is it has like the primitive 3D background environments.
Yes.
It's like low poly.
Yep.
You can count the number of polys in one hand.
Yeah, in the overworld, you'll notice that.
Yeah.
So when you're traversing from town to town or town to dungeon or whatever, you'll see the low poly kind of generic kind of sprite in the middle. You turn it and it looks kind of
and that stuff wasn't on the original game. The original game was on Super Nintendo. So clearly they added those in for the remake.
Yep.
And because it was on PSP. They didn't do so well.
I mean, I really wasn't. I didn't know what to expect when playing.
Yeah.
But it's pretty fun.
It's an action combat system like the Mana series.
Yep.
Does it slow down?
No. It only slows down when you kill an enemy, but it's done on purpose.
Stylistic.
Yeah, it's done on purpose. I think myself and Meatball, Ben Meatball Sub, on the site, we tweeted out some things where at the end our characters kind of jumped on top of each other. It was kind of like this acrobatic thing. It looked pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a stylistic thing that they.
Are you playing with the Japanese voice acting? Or
No.
English?
There is that option. You can play with newly animated characters, or you can play as the old ones. I generally don't go for the Japanese voiceover, more of the English, because I really wanted to get the story. And me with reading, as you can tell, reading is not my forte. But I would prefer the story kind of told to me.
Now, I could be pulling this right out of my... but I believe this game on the Super Nintendo, which never released in the States, or probably in the Western area, the original Super Nintendo one, I believe it predates Tales of Fantasia, and this game was made by Namco.
Yep.
And Namco made Tales, and the first Tales game is Tales of Fantasia.
I'm sorry to...
On Super Nintendo.
Was it made by Namco, or was it a Square Enix, or a Square?
Namco.
Okay.
I can double check that in a bit.
Someone's excited out there.
Yeah. Or it could have been developers that eventually left Namco and got purchased by Square. Maybe that is what happened. But because when you look at this game, you can very clearly tell, especially when the characters are calling out their moves, the names of their moves, and like screaming out in combat. That is a Tales thing. That is like in every Tales game ever, where they're like voicing up the names of their abilities that they're using, screaming at the top of their lungs, flare tornado and whatnot.
I will tell you that is the most obnoxious aspect of this game.
Well,
that you cannot turn off.
I heard it in the trailers and whatnot, the English part of it. It is obnoxious and awful because they put no gusto into it whatsoever. There's like nothing there. It's like the most bad, mediocre voice acting, probably because it was the voice acting for the PSP version.
No, I think the English voice acting, I believe, is all new.
That's what I'm talking about. They added that for the PSP version. So if you switch to the Japanese voice acting, or I think they have the original Super Nintendo voice tracks as well.
Okay.
If you go to that, you'll probably get that gusto, because if you ever played Tales of Fantasia or Tales of Destiny especially, oh my goodness, that has some of the best combat callouts in pretty much games. It's just awesome. Like Stan the man Elron, he will scream at the top of his lungs when he's doing like a flare tornado or a demon fang or whatever it is. It's just amazing.
In Star Ocean, it is absolutely obnoxious.
I never got a hold of it.
Okay, well, I've actually found a way around it where you can set your tactics in Star Ocean to where they just attack everything. Where you can or attack defensively, attack an ally. The way I've done it is attack without using, I think it's called an arts. Yep. Basically those callouts.
Arts are pretty much your special attacks in this game, which is also your special attacks in Tales. Like, I'm telling you, I think the developers of that series went to Namco and started the Tales games.
It's definitely a possibility. I don't know.
Probably the Star Ocean name or franchise got bought by the Square people or whoever. That's probably what happened.
Yeah.
But anyway, continue.
Yeah, no, we'd have to look at it. But yeah, what I ended up doing is just absolutely changing the tactics. I'm like, all right, don't want you guys to... Number one, I don't want them to use all their MP and use up all their arts. I don't want to have to hear this every time we get into a battle. So
just tell them, just regular attack.
Just regular attack, and I think they use it sparingly or something. They don't use it as often, which is freaking great, because otherwise they're just screaming constantly.
Change it to Japanese. Try that for a bit, and then if it still annoys you...
I mean, when you have 4 characters screaming all different stuff at the same time... Every single battle, random encounter, mind you.
Yeah.
So it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Nah. Yeah. Nope.
Tales of Destiny, man. You should play that.
I should play it.
There's
a lot of games I should play.
Yeah. Tales of Destiny is like... That was like one of the best Tales games out there. Okay. It's really good.
I'll have to give a
You can skip Fantasia, though.
All right, I'll skip Fantasia. Tales of Destiny, right?
Destiny, yeah.
Okay. Very good. So that's basically what I'm playing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to eventually playing Star Ocean First Departure R at some point.
Cool. What are you playing?
More Fire Emblem, and again, I'm like 145 plus hours into that game.
You know, there is an ending.
There is an ending, yes.
I think, because I've seen it.
Man, crazy
one of them,
stuff.
anyway.
It just keeps happening. It's awesome. I'm at the tail end of it. I just beat the mission before the mission that you...
The mission before the mission.
Before you go after the main city
Okay.
I don't want to say anything else, but
Okay.
just
So
before,
you're there, basically.
well, I think there's probably like 2 or 3 more months left in the game, and then that'll be it. I think, hopefully.
Will you go at another school? Go for another school?
No.
Okay.
One playtest is more than enough. I am good. Well, I don't feel like dumping another 100+ hours
Oh, that would be
I
ridiculous.
min-max. If I do that though, I will like turn down the difficulty as low as possible.
Just to run through it, or
Just
you
to
could
run
just
through it,
probably
yeah.
watch someone else play it on YouTube or something, just to kind of get the gist of the other
I
schools.
probably will do that. I
Yeah.
probably will like look up like story like a story synopsis of
Yep.
each of the other houses.
It's actually really interesting because you don't know.
Did you look at that?
I didn't. But you don't know the other school's motivations and why they're
Yeah.
doing stuff. So that's really interesting.
I do know a bit more about the Blue House, or the Blue Lions, because my girlfriend's played through and beat that, and now she's going through Edelgard, the Black Eagles, and as soon as I finish my story, I'm gonna converse with her, and she's gonna continue with the Black Eagles, and between the two of us, we beat
Sure.
the game like all the way through. So I'm excited to see how things fully lay out, and then at that point, maybe both her and I will look at some like YouTube compilation videos to figure out what the story is all about, just to remind ourselves and plug up any holes. The other game I've been playing is Demon's Crest for whatever reason.
Just whatever.
I'm waiting for certain updates to happen on the Super Nintendo and NES. Some new games are going to be added pretty soon. We'll talk about that later. But in the meantime, I saw someone play through like Demon's Crest, and I watched them play it, and it looked like a Metroid Mega Man style game. So I'm like, this game kind of looks good, and I'm playing it, and it's actually kind of good.
Yeah.
Hard, but it's kind of good.
Well, you had mentioned that it's kind of like a prequel or to
It's
Super Ghosts and Goblins.
Yeah,
or?
from what I understand, it takes place in the same world as Ghosts and
Well,
Goblins.
that makes sense because that game is pretty difficult.
It is. Oh, this is easily like worlds more easier. That's not even
World's more easier.
Yeah, world's more easier.
Gotcha,
I'm gonna stick with
gotcha.
that. It's definitely easier than Ghosts and Goblin.
Okay.
It's also a different style game because it plays. There's more exploration rather than.
He doesn't believe it either.
No, he doesn't believe it. Rather than like being pinpoint precision, platforming and memorization of enemy patterns. That's what Ghosts and Goblins like. This one's not so much that. You still have to do platforming, but you have a fly button. That's like one of the big things. Like you can jump and you can change your direction of your jump midair.
Okay.
So you have more mobility just from doing that, and then you can hit the jump button again and just hover in place.
And just traverse the entire map.
You can literally do that. Yeah, it's almost like cheating. They throw some flying enemies at you, but
those
you
are
can
easily maneuverable.
Yeah, you could shoot them down. You spit fireballs, so you have like a nice little range attack with your fireballs. And then as you like beat certain bosses, they'll drop crests that will give you like you turn it almost into like another demon, where you get like different abilities, and those different abilities allow you to like access different areas of different levels, and you can revisit old levels.
Yep.
And there's items that you can get that are tucked away in certain hidden places, and these items can like increase your max health, so you're getting stronger. There's money. You can grab the money, go to like shops and buy like spells and buy potions. So there's like some very slight RPG mechanics in there, so it's
Watch your mouth.
very slight.
That's not that much. What else you been doing?
So most of my time has been at PAX Unplugged.
PAX Unplugged.
PAX Unplugged.
Now, is PAX Unplugged more than one day, or is it just...
Yeah, it was. So Thursday was more so of a day for like for just setup. So Thursday's not really a day. It's really just Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it was a 3-day weekend.
All right.
It was in Philadelphia. My first time there as well.
All right.
Yeah, it was a very good time. I was there for demoing my board game at the Unpub. There's an Unpub section. The Unpub section is where a bunch of other game designers and developers and whatnot, they bring their sort of works in progress to have the general public play test it. And so with the hopes that they can get really good feedback to make adjustments to the game, to improve it, to see what works, what doesn't work. There's games of various stages of development, some that are far along, some that are like very, very early and rough, and the whole gamut.
Which is weird, but like, why would you bring your game if it's that early in development to something like that?
It depends on
Are you looking
the
for
user.
a lot of feedback?
Yeah.
Potentially your pool, your audience is a lot greater there, right?
Yeah, it really does depend. I mean, some games, in my opinion, some games that are a little bit simpler in sort of the rules and the design, they can fluctuate a bit heavier regarding how much they can change things up just from feedback. So because it's some games are a bit simpler, they can sort of start playing it at a very early iteration.
Okay.
And that can cause the game to change a lot as they go through and figure out what the game truly, like they're trying to identify the soul of the game through a very core mechanic.
Okay.
And for those games, it's kind of required to develop in that way.
All right.
So it really does depend on the games themselves. So even though it looks early, especially for those games, because when you're changing things up, you don't want to like have these nice printed components and art and design. Yeah, it's going to be very expensive because you're changing things very rapidly. Mm-hmm. So it depends.
But you had yourself set up there for...
Yeah, I had about, I can't remember how many playtest sessions. It was like in between 12 and 14 playtest sessions. My game's a heavy game. It's a fantasy war game. And so the sessions were like a minimum of 1 hour each, and some sessions were like up to 3 hours, I think. And it was just a blast to play. I was there pretty much all day on Friday, all day on Saturday, and for the most that I could on Sunday, just demoing it to the public and having people play it.
Nice. I'm sure you got some good feedback all around.
Yeah, good feedback. I mean, I generally ask the players that after they finish playing, I ask them for the bad stuff because to me that's the more important stuff. When the bad stuff gets fixed, when I smash all that bad stuff away, all that's left is the great and the good.
Good, right?
Yeah. So that's what I'm concerned with. But yeah, like in general, the feedback's been very positive, but it's been positive for a while. I'm just trying to fix anything that becomes a nuance. So it's like polish. Okay. Even though my game's an alpha.
Yeah. I'm sure there'll be some stuff that you kind of maybe want to implement or take out. Maybe some of that minor stuff.
Yeah, it's balance changes and figuring out whether I should do things to further incentivize the players to do things. Like, for example, players would complain that they just didn't have enough resources to participate in the really cool stuff that happens in the game. So the way I would interpret that is during certain key events, I could generate one more of a certain resource within my game to sort of boost that. Those are like the things I have to pay attention to and figure out and see if it works and whether it succeeds in doing what it needs it to do, or breaks it. Yeah. I was changing some of the rules on the fly from the playtesting on Friday. I changed the rules and tested them out on Saturday, and then even midway through Saturday, there was like one or two other rules. Actually, like small, subtle stuff that no one would ever pay attention to. It doesn't change the core mechanics of the game, but it's like a numbers thing. I just changed like the cost of doing this particular action is one less than what it used to be. Let's see how that plays out.
Okay. Yeah. Did you get to play anything else other than your own stuff, or?
No, I didn't. I was
you were
working the whole thing. I saw other people play their games. There was this one very weird game that I can't really do justice in describing, but essentially a bunch of people close their eyes and tell each other to reach into like cups in front of them that have different colored gems, and they have to reach inside these cups and grab the exact colors that they had to memorize before they close their eyes, and they're timed while doing this, and they have to cooperate with their friends because you don't have access to all the colors you need, and your friends have access to the colors that you do need, so you have to tell them, and their eyes are closed too. So it was just, and that table was right next to mine, so I got to see like these people as they're playing live, just a bunch of people like reach out, eyes closed, like trying to touch stuff in front of them. It was hilarious to look at.
Nice. Well, I'm sure you enjoyed yourself though the entire time.
I always enjoy myself.
Bunch of nerds playing tabletop games.
It was great. I was like eating sausage.
There you go.
while waiting for new players to show up.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. PAX Unplugged. I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah.
Now, on to news. So for news, there's always, it's quite a bit. First and foremost, Nintendo has released a new set of Switch Online games.
It's about to.
About to.
Tomorrow.
As of this recording, tomorrow, so today is the 11th, so on the 12th?
On the 12th.
Day of Christmas, okay. On the 12th, for RPGs, because that's all we really care about, right?
Yeah.
Breath of Fire 2 and Crystalis. I'm not familiar with Crystalis.
So Crystalis is like actually it's kind of like Secret of Mana.
Watch your mouth when you say that.
But it's single player.
Yep.
All right, single player, and it is an action combat system.
Okay.
So RPG, like RPG action combat system.
All right, I will. I'll check it out. I mean, why not? I have nothing to lose.
That one I'm actually kind of excited for.
Really?
Not so much Breath of Fire. I mean, I played Breath of Fire 1 is on the Super Nintendo list. I tried playing through that. That is a terrible RPG.
Yeah, not so good.
Bad.
Not so good. Yeah. Breath of Fire 2, I've been told, is an improvement upon the first one. So
It
has
better
to be, right?
It has to be, because like that is the bottom of the barrel when it comes to like RPGs. Breath of Fire is awful. That is trash.
I'm actually surprised because I didn't think we were going to get any more Nintendo games, and so the fact that they're even doing this, I don't know that we'll see much more after this. But I'm also glad we're getting more Super Nintendo games.
There's so many more NES games that they could come out with.
There are much more Super NES that they can come out with.
There is
better ones.
Yes. Just about all of them are going to be better, but they could still release some NES ones.
Anything in particular you have, and do you have any in mind? I feel like we've gotten all the good ones. Did we get a Bubble Bobble? I would absolutely love Bubble Bobble.
Bubble Bobble, there you go.
Okay.
That is one.
I don't even know if they have
that is a really good one.
Thank you. I came up with that off the top of my head.
Why isn't that one there yet?
I don't know.
Yeah, that one's fantastic.
I spent a lot of time playing Bubble Bobble, but there are a lot more Super Nintendo games. I think with Super Nintendo, it falls. There's an issue there with a lot of licensing. So they have to be careful, and they're only limited to certain releases. So
it's probably the same for the NES, right? Because there's like the Ninja Turtle games on the NES were pretty good. Some of them a little bit unbeatable.
Yeah,
but they're like all right.
Yeah,
and there was a bunch of licensed games. There was like maybe 2 Rambo games on the NES. I know there's one Rambo game.
I know there's one.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Moonwalker on the NES.
Yeah, there are quite a bit of them. So yeah, I would love more of the Super Nintendo games.
Yeah, because that's the golden age of RPGs.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it's a better console than Nintendo, to be honest with you. So next we have Dark Crystal. Dark Crystal finally announced when they're releasing their tactics game, Age of Resistance, and it's February 4th, which is coming up pretty quickly. Are you into Dark Crystal at all?
No, I hate Dark Crystal.
Great.
But not because the movie's bad. I just don't like Muppets.
Okay, do they creep you out? Is that, I mean, what's the reasoning behind this?
Man, I just don't like the way they look juxtaposed to like humans.
So when
like
you have
real, because it's real life, but it's real life Muppets next to like real people.
I will tell you,
live action.
I agree with you in to an extent.
Yeah.
If you watch the Netflix, I don't know if you have Netflix, but if you have Netflix and you get Age of Resistance, is it Age of Resistance? The Dark Crystal show,
Age of Resistance,
but the show.
I don't know what the show name is, but the name of the game, so I can imagine that they named the game the same as the show.
I think that's what it was. For some reason, I just call it Dark Crystal, but the movie's there as well as the show. The show, watch the show.
No.
It is good. Okay.
Not happening.
That's fine. That's fine. But it's a tactics game. I think you and I can both agree that tactics games are in our wheelhouse. So
I can swallow that pill. I can swallow the pill of Dark Crystal Muppets, because the art style looks appropriate, right? The Muppet nature of things is gone, right? The part about the Muppets I don't like is like having this realistic puppet, not realistic puppet, but like this puppet animated in real life.
Yeah.
versus something that's animated in game looks more natural. It looks like an actual creature in a game rather than looking like some puppet.
It makes sense for a game.
Yeah, it looks like it's animated as if it were a real living creature rather than looking like it's a puppet.
So when you have something that's like kind of like that and it's anthropomorphic, it just kind of just throws you all off. And it is age of resistance. That's what I was looking up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely makes sense for a game, and it's a tactics game, which we'll probably both like.
Yeah, absolutely. It depends on how well it can execute on that, whether it has like bugs in there.
Yeah. There's always that you always have to
and
try
hopefully
and
the combat goes through relatively quickly and is engaging enough long term. Hopefully there's a good like meta game to it.
And it's surprising coming from, I think the developers are Bonus XP. They're not. Are they known for? I don't think they're known for tactical games. They just recently did the Stranger Things games. So,
but they're probably a bunch of industry vets.
Yeah.
From various projects.
And then we get a little bit of an update from a game I've been keeping an eye on called Crosscode.
Yeah.
Crosscode, is it available to purchase on Steam or PC right now? I think it's just the demo.
I can check real quick.
But basically, they're just giving us an update saying, yes, we've been quiet for a while. We are still working on some things. Things being the console editions from... going from PC land to console land.
Yep.
Now,
and it is very much available right now as we speak. It came out a year ago on Steam, and it's a $20 game. You can even play the demo on Steam, and the user reviews for it are just overwhelmingly positive. The game, when you look at the game run footage-wise, it looks really good. It runs very well. That's
the thing.
big
It's
kicker.
a very fast-paced game.
Yeah.
And if it's got any sort of choppiness or slowdown, bogginess in this kind of game, it's gonna show.
It shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen. This is a pixel art style game that's running on modern hardware. It should not slow down, but it is fast. The characters are intentionally moving faster than you would normally expect.
Many enemies on the screen, a lot of numbers coming up. So there's a lot. Yep. There is a lot going on. But the reason they said that they're not delayed, but they're having issues is because the initial game was built on HTML5. Yes. So the initial game was built on HTML5.
Why would they do that?
Which has a lot of security issues. Especially when you're trying to bring that over to modern age, you know. So a lot of the exploits, the Java exploits, things of that nature, a lot of the consoles don't want that at all because, again, they become exploits.
Yep.
And into hacking the software. So that is kind of what they've been dealing with. They've been dealing with a little of that. I don't know that we have a release window quite yet on this, but again, that's kind of what they've been dealing with.
They learned a lesson.
They certainly did.
They're actively learning that lesson.
Yeah, but it definitely looks like a fun game. If you have a PC, I don't even think you need a grandiose PC to even run this demo. I run it. I don't have a gaming PC whatsoever, and I'm able to run this demo. And it's, for the most part, it's really fun. A lot of the puzzles are really engaging and fun. But it is, yes, very, very fast.
Yeah, I mean, once again, this is a pixel art game on modern hardware. It should run on everything. Everything.
Even your toaster.
You should be able to get like a Pentium 3 processor and run this thing.
Take it easy.
It should. Pentium 3 is like 100 times or 1,000 times faster
there's
than
a lot
the Super
more
Nintendo.
There's a lot more going on than just a Super NES game in this game.
Pentium 3 wasn't that underpowered. I think it got up to like 800 megahertz.
Or yeah, maybe. But again, like I said, there's a lot more going on in here than any graphically intensive game on the Super NES.
Right, but I'm talking about just the CPU.
Okay.
I'm not talking about the graphics card.
Whatever.
Even then, this thing should still run on like a Voodoo card.
Oh boy.
I'm going real old school.
Oh man. All right. Next we have Darksiders Genesis. Now this isn't out on the Switch yet, but it is getting some pretty good metascoring.
Yeah.
Out there. So really promising, I think. Again, as long as it runs well on the Switch. I think this is coming out February 14th on the Valentine's Day.
Soon.
So it's just nice to see that it's getting some decent scoring, that we'll get probably a decent game. So
yeah, it's getting some good praise. ACG.
Oh yeah, I like him.
He does good reviews, and he basically said just flat out buy it.
Yeah,
and that's pretty good praise, because I wasn't expecting that much praise from him, because he gave other potentially higher profile games and said to wait to buy them.
Okay.
Or get it on the sale. Which was, I forgot what game it was. It was actually a newer game that was MechWarrior 5. So he reviewed MechWarrior 5, said to wait for a sale on that one, but for Darksiders said just buy it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And what's interesting in this, because it released on PC as well as Google Stadia, and for some reason it was like $10 more on Google Stadia for whatever reason.
It makes plenty of sense to me.
Yeah, you're trying to launch a new I don't even know, what would you call that? A streaming console? I have no idea. And then all of a sudden you price gouge people.
Yeah,
that's not fun.
It's a problem. They don't know what they're doing on the Google side of things, and especially when you are on a brand new platform that
it's a whole new way of gaming.
Well, the thing, as a developer, shipping your game on a brand new platform, the way you think about it is you don't have any competition, and it's a brand new platform. People that have bought stuff, they really want to play stuff on their new platform because it's the new thing. It's the new thing that they just bought or signed up for, and there's nothing there. There's like, 10, 20 games that released on launch?
Yeah,
and now they're trickling in like one at a time.
Yeah.
And this is one of those ones. So, people are going to buy it because there's nothing else to play.
Nothing else to play, right?
And this game, it's a multiplayer game, multiplayer action RPG-ish.
Well, it's co-op. I guess
that's what I'm saying, multiplayer.
When I think multiplayer, I think more than two. That's just me. That's a me thing, not an anybody else thing.
Last I checked, 2 people is multi.
Oh, boy. Okay.
It is.
You're right. But yeah, when you're trying to launch a new type of thing, like even the quality of games weren't that great.
Nah, I mean, the Stadia platform is dead. If you went
dead already, it's DOA.
It was dead before it even released. That thing was just garbage. The tech isn't there. It's there for if you live in like San Francisco. You got good tech. If you live in like the middle of Boston, you got potentially good tech.
You're talking tech, mean like infrastructure behind the scenes.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I mean, if you live anywhere else in the United States, like, good luck.
It's going to be a problem.
Yeah, live near a major city, you might have a good time. Might. You live outside of a major city, you're having a bad time. Super bad time. Do not buy that stuff.
I don't know why they wouldn't have thought of something like that,
No.
Like, who is the target audience, though?
No, they know. Well, first off, most people in the United States live near or around major cities.
But that's going to limit your audience without a doubt.
Yeah, it's going to limit it, but it's a brand new thing that they're hoping they can sort of roll out over time. They're thinking more grandiose, but what everyone wants is stuff right now, and they wanted it right now last week.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you're right, though. I do agree with you that it is not DOA. I mean, there's still maybe something else will help it. I don't know. No, it's dead. It's dead.
Look, it's a bad value proposition to begin with. You have to buy a game on yet another platform that game, you don't even know whether they're going to stick with it. There's a question, and you're not buying physical. So, like, what part of that gives you, like, peace of mind that you're getting your money's worth, or that your purchase is going to be something that's long-lived?
Right. Like, if their services or servers go away, that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
You have nothing.
It's bad, and, they're banking on 5G for the more mobile side of things, and 5G is dangerous stuff. Please do not ask for 5G around your homes and stuff like that. 5G is just, there's some health issues that can very much happen, and that a lot of big tech companies are just hand waving and say, don't pay attention to the health issues that could potentially happen with 5G. Just, ooh, look,
New candy.
Data streaming super fast. Pay attention to that. You can watch these videos now.
In the same hand, I think you could say the same thing with 4G as well, but I don't know that we want to go down that rabbit hole right now. Yeah. All right. Moving along, that's Stadia.
Weird tangent.
Google Stadia report. A story-driven card-based RPG, Grand Guilds, launches for Nintendo Switch Q1 2020. So Q1 is that? I think that might start March. I think.
Q1. Well,
or
it depends.
That January?
It depends on the fiscal. I mean, did it say fiscal period or anything like that? It does start January.
Okay.
Q1. But sometimes companies correlate Q1 to their fiscal year Q1,
which would be March,
like Nintendo does.
Yeah,
which would be in March.
Yeah. So I don't know if they said Q1 2020. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but it is a card collecting tactical RPG.
Yeah.
I like the art style of it. It does the characters look like, if you're familiar with Ashen, it has that feel. Does it not to you?
Slightly abstracty.
Yeah.
It's not going abstracty enough to look like Ashen.
Okay.
But it isn't. The art work of the characters, the 2D illustrations look great. I wish the game looked more like that. I wish the game had used like sprites, 2D characters, because when you see the game actually running in the 3D part of the game, it looks generic.
I don't mind it.
I think
it needs fleshing out.
It's workable, but it does look generic.
Okay, that can be improved upon. What you're looking at there is an earlier trailer.
Nah, man. If this game is releasing in Q1? Even in the next 6 months, that's the art you're going to be stuck with, man. Okay. It ain't going to look much better than that.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay. I mean, I'm okay with that.
If you're not, that's okay.
But preferred, because you see, they show the cards, and to see the art style of the cards juxtaposed to the 3D generic-looking, blurry texture style of the game itself, and some of them are low poly, purposefully low poly, and that's fine. But the environments and just looking at how the grand scheme of things, they failed to execute this low poly, sort of simplistic, slightly abstract visual art style. Because you're looking at it right now, it looks like it's low effort, almost asset flippy style art. And I hate to say that. And then you see the anime sort of great. Style characters. Yeah. That looks great. Well, almost
looks
great.
Good.
It definitely looks good. And the artwork for some of the cards looks pretty good. But look at that juxtaposition. It looks like two different stuff that was made for two different games. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't have done that.
They shouldn't have done it.
Shouldn't have done that.
I think it's worth a look. I don't mind the low poly, low res. I totally understand what you're saying.
I am nitpicking. I am nitpicking.
It's just you. Yeah.
Look, it's a tactical RPG with deck building.
I like that integration. I think that's where I'm in on a little bit on this game is the deck building tactical aspect of it, that integration of it.
I'm in.
Okay. Well, nice to see you.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard. But yeah, look for it. Q1 2020, whatever that means.
Yeah, whatever that means for Switch and Steam.
Switch and Steam.
The game will also be released on the PS4 and Xbox One a year. Oh, so this is a 1 year exclusive for the Switch, console exclusive.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Wow.
Switch loading up on some of these exclusives. I like it. And I think the development team is very small. I almost want to say it's like 2 or 3.
That would surprise me. But to be that small, it's definitely doable.
Yeah. So
it's impressive if it's 2 or 3, though.
Yeah,
that's
think
very
it is.
Impressive.
Grand Guilds coming to a store near you. Then we have, again, this is just something that we do every week.
Yeah.
They seem to find their way in the news.
Good old Bethesda.
Every week. So Bethesda stops their work on Elder Scrolls Legends. Elder Scrolls Legends was their card. Again, this is the theme maybe today is their card-based game similar to Gwent or Hearthstone. I'd
say closer to Hearthstone than Gwent. Gwent is a very different style game.
Yeah, it's got your different...
Did you play Elder Scrolls Legends?
I did not play Elder Scrolls Legends.
I played that expecting... Because when you are a Hearthstone player that wants to play Hearthstone competitively...
Should I back away from the mic and just let you...
And you cannot play it. So I used to play Hearthstone competitively.
That's insane.
Yeah, I actually won... Well, I didn't win. I got second place in a tournament, but I won like, I don't know, $800+ or whatever.
Wow. Look at you, big time.
Throughout the season, I won over 1,000. But, second place, right? I didn't make it through.
I'll tell you a little story about it. So I tried to do that, not competitively. I think there's a casual and there's a league or whatnot. Yeah. I thought it was really, really good. I'm not that good.
On what?
Competitive.
Hearthstone?
When you have like other people that know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm not that good.
How far did you get on the rank?
Did you ever make it to Legend? I don't even remember. Yeah. It's been a while. But
you didn't get Legend, right?
No. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got my Legend.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. So what were you saying?
Anyway, as that player, you get angry at Hearthstone for being as non-competitive as a game could ever possibly be. So you seek other card games, because I used to play Magic: The Gathering competitively. And so you look for these other digital card games that are trying to say, hey, look at me, Hearthstone's a huge thing, so I'm going to jump in the basket too. And I gave Elder Scrolls Legends a shot, and lo and behold, it has lots of RNG, like it shouldn't, and other elements. But I played it. It was interesting. It had like this 2-lane system where you're sort of picking and adding stuff to 2 different lanes and trying to figure out whether you want to push one side or another. And there's some other elements, and it ties a little bit into Elder Scrolls, but it did not feel like an Elder Scrolls game, and also the way the game was presented felt very basic.
Okay.
And it just, it needed to hit the ground running rather than be an early access presentation.
I think they were dependent on relying on their Elder Scrolls name.
Yeah.
For the most part. If I'll link the article in in all descriptions. There's a picture, which you can see right now. That picture is from E3. Okay. And wow. that is how many people were actually playing this game. They had 2 screens for Elder Scrolls Legends. So I don't even think they, at this point, thought it was going to be anything worth investing into. And going back to Elder Scrolls Blades, it was very similar to that type of setup where they had kind of, I think Elder Scrolls Blade had a row of 4 or 5 in a row, and there was no one playing it.
Look, even Valve went full bore on making a big budget, crazy, brand new, didn't even play like anything like Hearthstone style card game, and they tanked super bad.
What did they have?
Artifact.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, exactly. It came out at the tail end of it came out pretty much exactly 1 year ago. It died like less than 2 weeks after it came out.
Okay.
I tried to get that. I got that game. I got a refund, and then I'm like, I'll give it a little bit more of a shot. I rebought it again.
Yeah.
And dumped even more serious time into it. Tried to play it competitively and realized that game, for some reason, they managed. Valve, you guys managed to make a more RNG heavy game than Hearthstone. Are you insane?
No. Yeah.
Are you insane?
Trying to have a card game with a lot of RNG, a lot of randomness.
And they were trying to go with the competitive route. They were trying to make it a more competitive
that would
card
seem
game.
like impossible to do.
Collectible card game.
Yeah, that's crazy. And you're also, and I think I didn't link it in here at all, but Gwent is also not going to be on consoles anymore. So they've stopped that. I don't know if they're going to pull out altogether in the card game thing.
Well, Gwent makes sense because Gwent wasn't really like it worked, but it wasn't fun.
No, I mean, no.
It's like playing a Euro game.
A Euro game?
A Euro board game. The board gamers out there know what I'm talking about. It's like playing a Euro game that's competing against Hearthstone. Like the way you played Gwent it felt like playing a Euro game. Like you're crunching numbers.
Oh yeah, a lot of maths maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Gwent worked fine in The Witcher 3 for me, anyways. I just did it to get achievements.
Yeah, it did. It did work. It did work fine in Witcher 3. And it's a fine game. It's just not like a game that's competing as a standalone.
Yeah. Well, that's it. They're pulling out on all standalones. If you want Gwent, if you really want it that bad, get The Witcher 3. You're getting a decent, okay card game with a phenomenal RPG. So that is our Bethesda minute that lasted way too long.
Yeah.
On to our bigger news segment here. We have the Switchrpg award polls. Now, we don't have all of them quite out yet. We have quite a bit of them out, but not all of them. Oh, I don't have my Twitter account linked on my iPad.
I got it right here, man.
So we have a few genres or subgenres.
Look at that PC.
Look at that PC. Shut your yapper. and I don't like Apple, so.
Do I get to vote on this?
Yeah, let me help you, though. For our best turn-based RPG, those results are final, and Dragon Quest XI dominated that. We had Alliance Alive HD, Dragon Quest XI, Pokemon Sword and Shield, and Steam World Quest. Now, these were for best turn-based RPGs, and Steam World Quest ran away with it.
You mean
I'm sorry,
Dragon Quest?
I was looking at Steam World. Yes,
Yeah.
Dragon Quest ran away with it. Steam World Quest and
By a lot.
Alliance Alive only got 2% of the votes, respectively.
Dragon Quest more than doubled Pokemon Sword and Shield.
And I would say it makes sense. Pokemon Sword and Shield is a good turn-based game, but Dragon Quest XI really belongs there. Then we have best or favorite, I should say best music in an RPG. We have Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, Children of Morta, Dragon Quest XI, and Ni no Kuni. I believe, I don't know the exact results, but I'm pretty sure Dragon Quest XI also ran away with this. And you had mentioned you wanted another game in there, which we'll probably get to a little bit later on. Okay.
Yeah, there absolutely should be another game in that list.
Okay, we'll we'll get to that a little later on. And then for our next category, we have best budget RPG. And I think we limited our budget to about $15. So $15 on the eShop currently. So our choices are...
The list updated. Apologies.
What are you doing to me?
There was a refresh that happened. There it is.
All right, so we have Alvasia Chronicles, which is a Kemco title. Yep. Monochrome Order, which is another Kemco title. Shadows of Adam and Swords of Ditto. And I'm pretty sure with this one here, Shadows of Adam has taken over this.
Why? That game's not good.
It's not good?
No.
Why would you say it's not good?
I never played it.
All right,
but the reviews that I saw for it were not that good.
Okay.
I think Swords of Ditto is, or Ditto.
Like the Pokemon.
Is it? Is that what they named the game after, a Pokemon?
I have no idea if they named it after the Pokemon, but it is like the Pokemon.
Well, Swords of Ditto is just a better looking game.
Yeah.
It also didn't score very well. It didn't score poorly. Mm-hmm. But it's an action combat-y style game, roguelite-ish, and...
You're talking Swords of Ditto, right?
Yeah, Swords of Ditto. It just looked like it was doing more interesting things. Shadows of Adam it looked very traditional.
It is a traditional traditional game. I think it's the 16-bit era.
Yeah.
So I've never played. The only game I've played out of this list is Swords of Ditto. So I don't have the background to really answer all these questions. I know the Kemco titles they're all budget RPGs, but in my opinion, they're all the same. They're all the same.
Yeah. I am not fighting for Swords of Ditto. If the vote goes for Shadows of Adam, then I'm happy. Mazel tov. Good stuff. But I think Shadows of Adam is like a RPG Maker engine game.
Maybe it has
potentially.
That. Well,
it looks like it is.
Kemco definitely seems like it is. I don't know if Shadows of Adam is built on their own engine or if it's an RPG Maker type game. Can you do RPG Maker with 16-bit, or I don't even know? Yeah,
you can do. They've expanded that game engine.
Okay.
To do a lot of different variants. Yeah.
Okay. So that was best budget. Then we move on to best tactical.
This one's a no-brainer.
But this one is another runaway. So we have Divinity Original Sin 2. Who did you vote? You didn't vote for this one.
It got crushed.
Watch your mouth. Then we have
It did, though.
Fell Seal Arbiter's Mark. We have Fire Emblem.
That's a pretty good one. Fell Seal's pretty good.
Wargroove. Actually, I'm not sure about
I have
Wargroove.
no clue why Wargroove is on this list. Like, all right, look, Wargroove is definitely good enough to belong on a list, but not on
Best tactical.
tactical RPG. It's not even an RPG.
I don't feel that it is an RPG, but we had many discussions in our chat room.
Those
about
were very wrong discussions.
Well, where were you? Were you involved in them?
Where's the character progression? Where is the NPCs to interact with? Yes, there are story segments that happen in between, but there's there's no world that you are exploring. You're going from level to level.
That's it, yeah.
Stage to stage.
Mm-hmm.
There is absolutely no NPCs that you're talking to. There's characters that you can interact with. There are allies you have when you're playing a battle map. It's a war game.
It's a straight up tactical game. It's a strategy game.
It's a strategy war game set in fantasy medieval-esque times.
Yeah.
Like, what part of that is a RPG? Like the fact that it has like dragons?
I don't know.
Is that why?
I don't agree with it either, but it's on our list.
It's insane.
Okay. So of the 3 Fire
And
Emblem,
it got crushed. It's the lowest percentile one, as it should.
You seem very happy.
I am happy it got crushed. It did not belong on that list. It's a good game. It's a really good game. I have it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It is a good game, but as far as maybe that's more of a fact that the RPGs were a little maybe light this year. You think?
The greats were like...
The greats, okay.
Yeah.
But my Divinity Original Sin 2 came in second place. That's at least my...
a distant second place.
It doesn't matter.
Fire Emblem crushed it
so
as
Fire
it
Emblem
should.
came in at around 60%, and Divinity second place came in at 20.
Honestly, I think Fell Seal should have been the second place.
Mm-hmm. But they're relatively close. You have 20% and 16%.
And I'm only saying that because Fell Seal is a game that came out this year
Doing
rather
something
than
new.
Divinity came out, last year, or was it the year before that?
Year before that.
Year before, so
yeah, nope.
a ways away.
Totally makes sense. Now then we have Best Action RPG.
Why are these numbers showing the things that they are currently showing? Ni no Kuni is one of the nominees. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
Mm-hmm.
No problem there. Not action.
It's an action RPG.
It's an action game.
It's an action RPG.
It's an action game.
Thank you. It's action RPG. Continue.
Once again, there's some things that are missing from that it has RPG elements.
There we go.
I don't know all that. Tales of Vesperia.
This is where the blood, tears, all that stuff comes in.
Tales of Vesperia. All right. Tales of franchise is the quintessential action RPG. If you want to look at what an action RPG is, you look at Tales franchise and you'd be like, oh, that is an action RPG.
Oh.
All right. So we
can't stray away from that
an
at
action
all.
RPG. And then we have Bloodstained. Look, if Bloodstained Ritual of Night is stretching the limits of action RPG, how can you even think that Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 comes close?
Well, maybe they're opposite ends of the spectrum of action RPGs. But Marvel Ultimate Alliance is definitely an action RPG in the same vein that Diablo is.
Can we redact some of these votes? Because clearly some of these people are drinking heavy something, because they are so... What are these votes based on? Is it based on like the heart, the retweet, and the comment?
No. We have 189 votes there.
Oh, okay. All right.
And
there we go.
So 189 people, and they distribute the percentage that way.
So 33% of those 189 people are wrong. I would love to see either Tales or Bloodstained Ritual of Night get this, and ideally Bloodstained because it released this year. Ni no Kuni did not.
Like 3 years ago, maybe?
4 or 5. Okay. That was a PS3 game. PS3. Tales of Vesperia, sadly, did not. That's an even older game. Marvel did release this year, but sadly is not an RPG. And Ni no Kuni is winning. Like,
won.
Crazy.
It won.
Oh, it won.
Final results.
All right.
Won.
Well, clearly people are wrong.
But you also got to remember...
This was close, though.
Yes, this was a closer race.
2% away. So Bloodstain was 31%, Ni no Kuni won 33%.
And you also got to remember, this is the people voting.
Who are crazy.
Our staff will come up with our own. We're using the people's vote as an additional person. So this is their vote in our award, Switch RPG Awards.
I get you. This is where the you only get one vote of, the multiple choice vote system fails.
It's tough, yeah.
It fails in so clearly in instances like this. If you do just a point-based system where you get to vote on 1, 2, all 3 of them, and you're ranking the options that you have, therefore you'll have more people that are ranking the true game that typically makes it. They're not placing it in last, right? When you only have one vote, you're voting one game with everything, and everything else gets the 0.
Yeah, you need the aggregate there.
You need the ranking in order to sort of show that there is a difference between the games that are tying for 0 votes, right? Because they're not tying; they are ranked, but you can't rank them when you only have a multiple choice system.
Right. Yep. Well, it's the only method we have at the moment.
Yeah. I totally get it. I'm just shame on you people. Shame on you. How dare you vote for Ni no Kuni? Have you even beaten that game?
I don't know that anyone has.
Yeah.
Ever. I don't know. I have never.
You can't because it's not that good.
I've never played it. Anyways, I'm going to ignore that comment because you're going to...
I own the game.
You own the game.
I can
attest to it?
I can, I can trash talk as much as I want.
All right. Then we have our favorite multiplayer RPG. We have Cat Quest 2, Divinity Original Sin 2, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
Why is this list so wrong?
And Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Oh my goodness. Where is Tales of Vesperia?
It is not on that list. You don't see it there, do you?
You have Cat Quest 2.
It is a great
look
multiplayer game.
Fine.
Have you played it? Play it.
No. Look. I'm actually for Cat Quest 2 being on there, right? But Marvel Ultimate Alliance is also on here, which does not belong. If there was a game that I could remove from this list, it would be that one.
For the fact that you don't think it's a RPG.
All right. Not only is it not an RPG, but it's also... All right. Yes, it's a great multiplayer game. I'm cool with that. But the game scored in like the 70s. Like, all right, whatever. You're in the 70s. You're a good game. You are a good game, man. Cat Quest also in the 70s. You are a good game, man. Tales of Vesperia is an awesome game.
Where's the numbers on that?
Oh, I'm going to base the numbers off of the Xbox version when it originally released, and they were in the 80s. Okay. So, it's a great game.
Okay.
But even then, I'm telling you, Tales of Vesperia is a great game. Now, Marvel, you can play 4-player.
This episode is sponsored by Bandai Namco. Tales of Vesperia.
And Cat Quest 2 is what, only 2-player? Or is
2-player, yeah.
All right. Tales of Vesperia is 4-player. Co-op.
So now we're judging the amount of players.
This is the best multiplayer, though.
Okay.
Best multiplayer.
You had mentioned earlier that multiplayer is co-op.
Children of Morta is not on this list. Doesn't that irk you?
I was outvoted. I had said.
Why is that not on this list?
I don't know. I was the only one.
Pokemon is on this list too.
And Pokemon is very limited, in my opinion, is very limited in its multiplayer aspects.
Yeah. Look, I agree Pokemon should be on this list because it does have the online battles and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So that's cool by me. I agree Pokemon should be on this list. But
you're saying you're missing Tales of Vesperia.
You're missing Tales of Vesperia.
Is that your only gripe?
That is a huge gripe because that is the best multiplayer RPG that came out this year.
I don't know what to tell you.
For the Switch.
These are the nominees.
The Tales of franchise is like known. They are known for doing multiplayer co-op RPGs. Mm-hmm. The entire franchise kind of like you can count the number of single player Tales games on like one hand. It's probably like 2 or 3 different games were single player. All the other ones, the like 10, 15 plus other ones have been multiplayer.
And I'll tell you what we're discussing right now is what the Discord chat looks like with all the editors, everybody talking about this. This is what it's like. Everyone's like vouching for their game. They want this game in there. Everyone wants their game in there, but ultimately we have to knock it down to 4. And you're saying,
Cat Quest made it in over Tales.
You never played Cat Quest.
All right, look, Cat Quest came out this year. Cool. Divinity Original Sin did not come out this year.
Tales of Vesperia came out like 17 years ago.
All right, touche. I'll give you that one. All right. But we could get rid of Tales and get rid of Divinity, and can we at least say Children of Morta?
We could certainly. I vouched for Cat Quest and Children of Morta. Okay, I'll just say
certainly over Marvel.
I'll say that,
Marvel.
But no, I also said Marvel as well. I love Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
Look, you can love it,
but it is also we're gonna look. We'll look at it later.
Are there even NPCs in Marvel?
Yes, of course there are.
Like NPCs that are going to give you a quest.
Yes.
Really?
You have not even played the.
Is there an overworld?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Never mind.
You have
all right. I back out. I'm backing out on Marvel. Marvel stays.
Okay. We'll discuss this because Marvel Ultimate Alliance is most definitely an RPG.
All right.
Okay.
Clearly, I don't know as much as what I experienced, through videos and stuff like that.
No. I can even let you borrow it if you want it because I have the physical version.
There is some butter there that I did not get to taste. So
all right. So moving on to casual RPG of 2018, we have Dragon Quest Builders 2 and casual. The way we define casual...
This list is insane.
The way we define casual...
Why is Cat Quest 2 not on here?
Wait a minute, because Cat Quest 2 is an RPG. The way we're defining casual is not in terms of accessibility, in terms of easy to pick up and play.
Yeah.
We're kind of looking at games that are borderline RPGs.
Yes.
That's what we're discussing with casual RPG. And we have Dragon Quest Builders 2, which I'm pretty certain is a legitimate RPG.
I would agree with that. It is a legitimate RPG. It's just a very different style of it. Look, if we keep on sectioning off what limits and doesn't limit in what constitutes an RPG and doesn't, like we restrict the genre from being able to grow and expand design-wise, right?
Well, I mean, that's when people take, what's good with RPGs, and that's when the lines get blurred, when they start integrating different aspects of these type of games. But we have Dragon Quest Builders 2, Link's Awakening, Monster Boy Cursed Kingdom, and Ring Fit Adventure.
Monster Boy Cursed Kingdom, a platformer.
That is a platformer.
It's like a Metroidvania, very light Metroidvania elements, platformer. How is that?
I think with Metroidvanias, people feel being able to upgrade and whatnot, people assume maybe that those are kind of level up or kind of mechanics that are RPGs. I don't know.
Yeah. Why?
For
Cadence of Hyrule could. I mean, to me, I think it's an RPG, but I don't see it in other genres that have passed through so far, and that could be at least on this show, unless it's listed elsewhere. Cadence of Hyrule.
Cadence of Hyrule is an omission that should be on this list. I agree with that. Link's Awakening, I don't think that's an RPG at all.
I can see that. No, I'm down with Link's Awakening, because Link's Awakening, I think just most Zelda games are very much RPGs in some ways. I would say Skyward Sword is kind of hard to argue with whether that is truly an RPG, but it depends on the Zelda game. But many Zelda games fall into an RPG, or at the very least has one definitive leg in the RPG sort of terrain and the other foot in the action adventure.
I will call them RPG light. Can I say that?
Sure, but I mean, once again, you cannot deny that there is at least one Zelda game that is clearly an RPG.
Are you referring to
Zelda 2?
That's it.
Like you cannot argue.
No.
You cannot argue
that one for sure.
For sure.
But
so therefore, the rest of the franchise clearly has lots of heavy RPG elements. And just remember, the games that inspired Zelda are the original, like Adventure. Games like the original Rogue. Like Zelda is a rogue game that just doesn't have procedural generation. Zelda is the original. I'm talking about NES, original Legend of Zelda. That is an RPG. It is legit an RPG, right? It was an action RPG.
No.
Yes.
We're not going to get into this here.
Definitively an action RPG.
I disagree. So moving on, we have our favorite roguelike RPGs of 2019.
Which is missing a game that I just mentioned.
We have Children of Morta, Mistover, Sparklight, and Tangledeep. And we're missing...
These people are drinking the crazy juice.
When you say these people, you're referring to us.
Us?
Yes, we put this list together.
We are drinking the crazy juice so hard. I have Tangledeep. It is not that good. That is a convoluted, hard to get into game. It is a roguelike game. Yes, very much. It's the roguelike games in a way that you take a step, the enemies do their action, right? You attack, the enemies do their action. Like every step that's happening is another action that the rest of the AI characters then do in response.
So very similar to
Cadence of Hyrule?
Cadence of Hyrule.
Which is also a roguelike? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like Tangledeep is definitely belongs in this genre. Is it the best one? Because it got voted the best one. You crazy people. That game is insane to try to get into. It's not intuitive. It's not well presented.
Yeah, it's a bit obtuse at first. But,
very obtuse. It's not straightforward. There's not a good tutorial system to it. When you level up, you're not even getting like significant improvements on how you level up. It's convoluted as to whether or not you actually gain any new abilities. Casting spells isn't very obvious as to how you do it. It's not even well balanced. It's just not that good of a game. Like, you can play it for a while, absolutely, but are you having fun? Are you having fun with that? Are you really?
I'm sure there are people having fun with that game. Sure.
I tried. I like roguelikes. I like old school dungeon crawlers. That's what this game is an old school dungeon crawler.
And you are old school.
I dig those games. I tried to get into Tangledeep. Man, is it hard. Not like difficult hard. It's just hard to get into.
So the poll results show that ended up winning out at 37%.
You crazy people.
And then next is at 34%. We have Mistover.
Mistover is by far the better one than Tangledeep.
Okay.
Like, no question about it. The art is better. The way it presents itself, it reduces all the information overload that Tangledeep sort of throws at you. Mm-hmm. Just crazy amounts of information overload. It sort of reduces a lot of that. It still has some degree of heavy information because these are min-maxy games. Yeah,
the roguelikes are not typically, they're not easy games.
No, they're not.
They're a lot more difficulty. I think the permadeath in some roguelikes, permadeath is quite an issue with some of them. If you're thinking of Darkest Dungeon, things of that nature where permadeath is a problem. But I don't know. I'm not too familiar with Tangledeep. Mistover, you can lose characters, I believe. But my next game at 25%, so we go from Mistover to 34%. My next game, 25%, Children of Morta. You don't have to deal with permadeath. I feel this is the most accessible roguelike on this list. Maybe with Sparklight.
Easily.
Maybe with Sparklight. I'm not familiar with Sparklight. But Children of Morta is definitely the most accessible of all of them.
If the list was worst game, then yeah, Sparklight belongs on that list. But and it won't win that list either because it can't win in anything because it's not really that good.
Sparklight is not that great.
Sparklight's bad.
Okay.
It's just bad.
It's just
you're
a ray of sunshine today.
It's bad because it's like so mediocre in everything that it does.
Okay.
It's not bad in execution, although it is bad in execution in some places. It's just so like it's just so mediocre.
Okay.
It's like boring. It's like that kid that you went to like 4th grade or 5th grade or like all of middle school with, and then said hello to you like 10 years later and is like, "Hey, remember me?" Nope.
Oh boy.
Nope, I do not. But yeah, Children of Morta, of these 4, Children of Morta should have won, hands down.
I agree.
What's missing from this list, though, is Cadence of Hyrule, which then would have won this category, hands down. But it would have been a fight between Children of Morta and Cadence of Hyrule.
Okay, all right.
And the fact that Tangledeep won it over Mistover.
Well,
and Mistover's not.
Here's
it's not
the thing.
fantastic.
You got to remember, like you said, when you have polls like this, it's a 1 point or nothing.
Yeah.
And also, it's a popularity contest. So you gotta take that.
That's why when you have a ranking system, you kind of remove the popularity to a certain degree. You're still gonna pretty much every game of the year thing that has fan voting is a popularity contest, and even then, even game of the year voting ends up being popularity contests because people are only gonna vote for what they've played.
Sure.
Whereas,
they should essentially. Yeah. I mean, if I haven't played Death Stranding, I can't really. I'm just kind of out of context. I can't really comment on that because I don't really know anything other than what's in the
To a certain degree, though, you can have some. You can educate yourself, even though you don't play the game. You can educate yourself enough to have a voice.
Sure. Okay.
To have some sort of sane voice. Because if you don't, then crazy stuff like Tangle Deep winning something ends up happening. Over Children of Morta.
Well, again, like I said, this is more of a popularity contest with them. We do have our discussions behind the scenes, and we figure this out.
All right.
I'm going to try and move through these a little bit quickly. Okay. So then we have.
I'm going to derail.
Oh, you would never do that. Johnny is just you're in a bad mood. You okay? Okay,
some of these rankings.
All right, best visual in an RPG. We have Atelier Ryza, Dragon Quest XI-S, Ni no Kuni, and Swords of Ditto. All of which I would agree have some decent visuals in there.
Yeah, I have no complaints with these nominees.
I would even put in there Children of Morta. I know that we really harp on that. I love the art style in that. It's
well executed.
Yeah, I really do like that. But I think again in this one is Dragon Quest XI-S. That's I don't have the exact numbers in here because Johnny did not vote. He's I don't know what he's been doing with his life, but he did not vote. I believe Dragon Quest XI-S.
I was at PAX Unplugged.
Oh, whatever. Is in the lead here. Again, well deserved. I think all of these are pretty decent visually remarkable games, but they all fall in the same line of the anime-esque kind of style. Swords of Ditto has that kind of cell-shaded kind of look. Ni no Kuni, obviously anime-inspired. Dragon Quest and Atelier Ryza. More Dragon Quest has that anime aesthetic as well. But all, I would say, belong on this list.
You know what? I'm just happy that this particular section of game votes exists because I'm the one who kind of injected it.
Right.
So I'm just happy that this is here.
Pat on the back.
Yeah, cool. Shout out to Swords of Ditto because that hand-drawn sort of art style that they have going there is just beautiful.
And we still have 2 days left on that, and I'm a little disappointed because I voted for Atelier Ryza in there because I'm the one who really fought hard for that one. I'm really surprised. Swords of Ditto has I don't even know if they have many votes at all, if any, to be honest with you. And it's a little disappointing because I think Swords of Ditto deserves some recognition there as well.
Visually, you look at any sort of gameplay trailer of that game and you'll be like, yeah, it belongs in this category.
And I think what I'll do next time in running these votes, I will run them all in one single thread. That way you vote on one, you can just vote on all of them. Maybe run the polls a little bit longer as opposed to 3 days. I'll do 7 days or something like that. But what I'll also do is I'll put in their visuals, whether it's screenshots or YouTube links, so people can actually see some of these because I feel like people maybe don't remember or don't know about certain games. They just kind of vote with their what they remember, and that one for sure is something I think people should at least recognize because it is a really good looking game.
Do we pass through audio?
We're not there yet. We don't have all of them up yet. Audio is next.
All right. Well, no, the next one I see here is retro.
Well, I'm talking. I haven't tweeted out. We did not tweet them all out at once. We're doing it every day, which I think is a mistake on our part. I think for the next time we'll do them all in one day.
Okay. Well, let's mention this one.
Right? Definitely. This is the last one we have. It's the best retro / remake RPG of this year. And I think we went as far back as 2 generations. So on this one, we have Collection of Mana, Dragon Quest 3.
2 generations.
I think we went back. Yeah.
That was, like the soonest.
That's anything closer to that. anything closer to now time is
So we're
not
talking
eligible.
PS2 era and earlier.
And earlier.
Okay.
Okay. So Collection of Mana, Dragon Quest 3, Final Fantasy 7, and Grandia HD Collection.
Yeah.
I've been told that Dragon Quest 3 does not look good, but I have no experience with it at all. Grandia HD Collection and Collection of Mana, which I've mentioned, I think are perfectly fine. They didn't really do anything great.
They didn't do anything at all.
Yeah, well, with Trials of Mana they did. But with the others, Final Fantasy, I think it's Final Fantasy Adventure in there, as well as Secret of Mana. There's really nothing done in there. They're pretty much straight up ports. But with Trials of Mana, it's a whole different translation game in there.
I thought you were talking about Dragon Quest 3 and Final Fantasy 7 because they didn't do anything at all.
No, Dragon Quest 3 is from what I've been told, it just doesn't visually look that great. I don't know. And Final Fantasy 7, yes, it's again a straight up, I think, PSP port maybe.
It's either that or the PC.
Or might be mobile port.
Even worse.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. I think people have this grandiose vision of Final Fantasy 7, and I think it's a little overrated, in my opinion. Final Fantasy 7. I'm not a big fan of 7. I actually prefer 9 or 10 of the Final Fantasies.
No, you're right on that. Like 7. The problem with 7 is that it's so ugly. And hard to go back to. Mm-hmm. It's just atrocious. It's
one the polygonal kind of.
It's one of the first RPGs on the PlayStation.
3D. Is it 3D?
Yeah. The characters were in 3D.
Right, the characters are in 3D, but I think that's where it just doesn't. It doesn't have that lasting appeal like say a bit graphic or a cell shaded or anime type of aesthetic.
Well, look, there are other RPGs that also came out on the PlayStation, and they realized that the PlayStation's 3D capabilities were not up to par, and they decided to go with yet more sprite graphical presentation of the characters and of the world. And lo and behold, they still hold up and look pretty good. Right? Symphony of Night. You can still play that and be like, yeah, all right, the graphics don't get them in the way. I'm enjoying. I'm having a good time. And they put in the 3D stuff way in the background.
Yeah.
Way in
where
the
it
background.
Belongs, and it's just kind of got that. I forget what the kind of that movement is.
Parallax scrolling.
Yeah, parallax scrolling, which is perfect. I think it really works there. Grandia HD Collection, again, this is more just a kind of an up-res. If you played the Grandia 1 and 2, kind of an up-res version of those.
In Grandia's, it's an all right.
Yeah. I think Dragon Quest 3 actually is winning this contest right now in polling.
Wow, you crazy people.
And I think what's happening is there are a lot of Dragon Quest people out there.
How is Collection of Mana not winning this? Like,
it should be winning.
It offers you the most.
Yep.
At the highest quality.
And in my opinion, the better games. Secret
of Mana. And it has multiplayer.
Yeah. Yep.
Like how co-op multiplayer, like what is wrong with you people?
Again, a popularity contest. But those are the polls that we currently have as of this recording. We still have 2 more. We have best audio and then actually RPG of the year to go at that point. So if you're wanting to get into this, check out our Twitter. If you're getting into this late, you can always go on our website and find out what the results were at that point. So switchrpg.com will have that all handled. All right. Now, I don't know if we're going to get to all that we were planning to get to.
Let's speed through it. I will keep my mouth shut.
No, you won't. We know that can't happen. But I did want to mention, because this was pretty big, a lot of information here. We had the Indie World presentation.
Yes.
We didn't have, I'm always hoping for more RPGs, right? That's kind of our thing here.
Well, there is a few.
There are a few. We maybe more than we thought. Sequel to Golf Story, we have Sports Story.
Sports Story!
Wicked weird, but kind of cool. I mean, it combines golf. It combines, like, I saw in the clip there was like somebody throwing a cinder block and somebody hitting with a baseball bat.
They had tennis. They had
volleyball, maybe.
They had soccer. The volleyball, but the person kicked the volleyball, like bicycle kick style, as if it were soccer.
Yeah, so it's blending everything.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see how.
It even has like a dungeon that you can puzzle solve.
Yes.
At the very least.
So I mean, who knows what they've concocted here. And I think actually it's Switch exclusive.
Yep.
So really cool golf story sequel. Who would have thought, right?
Yep. Sports story.
I'm sorry. Yes, a sports story. Thank you. And then we have Monster Hunter.
Nah, well,
It's Dauntless. Okay, Dauntless.
You have Western's take on Monster Hunter.
You don't sound so uppity up on this.
Dauntless, look, nothing.
Because
Kudos to other people trying to take on Monster Hunter. It's been done before, but like, even though Monster Hunter is very intimidating and obtuse and has lots of like systems that could potentially be streamlined and taken out, like, they're in there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it does add to the game and to the world. Dauntless is a much more... There I go, saying that phrase again. It is a simpler take on the Monster Hunter.
Again,
it boils it down
I like to use
basics.
more. I like to use the word accessible, so you casual people can really get into.
It's sure accessible and simple are the same thing. It's still simple.
Okay, all right, we're saying the same thing.
You're doing the core stuff of rolling. Like, you look at the enemy, the enemy boss that you're engaged with. You're identifying, the cue of whatever attack it's going to do next. You're trying to recognize and identify the animation cue that's playing out. That's going to result in whatever attack that will then follow up with, and you're going to either block or dodge or run away from said attack or absorb it in a way that you can, do like super armor or whatever and do an attack through that, or try to figure out a way to interrupt, right? These are like just action combat systems 101, and you're doing that against a big giant creature monster thing. So they have like boiled down the essence of Monster Hunter, stripped out lots of the complexity.
Yeah.
And look, some of the complexity of Monster Hunter could be stripped out. I'm okay with that. But in the process, they lose a lot of the depth, and they also just don't nail the execution of the action. Now, I got to play it on the Switch to sort of figure out if it plays like all the other, like the PC version, or if it plays worse.
So you played.
I doubt it's going to play better.
Did you play the PC version?
Yeah.
All right. So if you've played that experience, the Switch version will most likely be a similar experience, except for in the hub town, it's a little bit stuttery at the moment. That can be proved upon.
Yeah.
But I mean, the game just released, so they kind of just drop this.
It's going to play the same, and the fact that it is a free to play, that's the part that holds it back from actually standing up against the tried and true Monster Hunter, because Monster Hunter doesn't nickel and dime you. It doesn't sort of gate you progress wise with like a stamina system or whatever crazy free to play mechanics that exist these days.
Yep.
Like, it just gives you the content, and the only way you progress is if you get better. If you don't get better, then you won't progress, and you can't get better through loot, because your progress is your loot. Not only is it your skill, but it's also your loot. So it's like, you got to kill the monster first, so that means you have to get better first before you can get the gear that makes you better, stat-wise. It's great. Monster Hunter is just fantastic. It's like the Dark Souls of boss fights. It's just awesome.
I agree. I think Monster Hunter is the ultimate experience, no doubt about it. But Dauntless, honestly, I played it. I actually enjoyed my time with it. Very little time I played with it. I enjoyed it. A lot of the microtransactions, while there are some boost packs and things like that, most of them were cosmetics, so it really didn't interfere with gameplay, in my opinion.
That's the part that does get in my way is those microtransaction-y type elements. I never liked how they're implemented, even if they are cosmetic, because it'll always result in something else, and no matter what, they design those games to be grinded out over and over again. Now, Monster Hunter is also very, very grindy. I know all about the grind in Monster Hunter, but at the very least, I just stopped playing Monster Hunter. And not only that, but in Monster Hunter they dangle like whatever new monster is. But once you sort of go through and beat all the monsters, you're pretty much accomplished. You don't have to grind out the latest, the best possible, gems to sock it into your weapons or anything like that. You can just beat the last monster and then you're done. It's probably the same thing to say for this game as well, but it's free to play. So there's some dirty tactics going on there.
Yeah, it's a possibility, but would you say there's dirty tactics in Path of Exile?
Look, Bethesda,
Oh boy.
they said that they weren't going to do dirty free to play stuff.
Oh, you're talking with
or
Fallout 76.
microtransactions in Fallout
Yeah, they
76,
certainly
and they did.
Yeah, they certainly did.
So,
Well, when
just
you-
because it's in there, I know that something dirty is going to happen afterwards.
So this is you being short-winded. So moving on. Moving on. Did you want to check the battery on that? I see it flashing.
Oh, it's good. It's going.
It's flashing.
It's flashing.
Red. Or is that the record button?
That's the record. Could be the battery. Let's expedite.
Expedite.
Yeah. We're aware, and we know it hasn't quit on us yet.
Okay. So moving on, we have Dreamscaper, which is an action roguelite RPG.
Was this shown during the presentation?
This was definitely shown during the presentation.
I must have snoozed.
I don't know what you did. But I'm not sure what to really think of this. I'm not. It's got procedurally generated stuff, so I'm not sure what to think about it. I like the overarching story, the narrative on it. It's basically her nightmares or her dreams.
Oh, yeah. You go to sleep and then you wake up in a new procedurally generated world.
Right. So it's got interesting angles, and I think every time it's got different maybe different items in every dream that you have that can carry over. It's got a unique art style. I think this is the game that I was looking at and I thought Ashen. You know how I referenced it in that card Grand Guilds, the card game. This one, the characters look like they got that kind of that blank look on the faces. This is the one I was thinking of. But I don't know if we have a date on this at all. But it is available. The demo is available on Steam if you're interested in playing it.
I got a question for you. Do you think Binding of Isaac is a RPG?
I never played it.
It's a roguelike.
I know it's a roguelike. I have no opinion on it. I've never played it. I don't know much about it. You're trying to bait me into something.
Yeah,
I know you are.
I'm not sure why we're talking about this game when it doesn't even advertise itself as an RPG.
Well, I think you're looking at the Steam heading or categories.
The categories are there. There can be multiple than just those five
I understand
that are listed there.
Maybe they didn't check off the RPG box.
Because maybe they don't think it's an RPG. It looks like an action game, a roguelike action game.
Okay.
That's what it looks like. If there is a bigger world to explore or some degree of meta style overworld element with NPCs and quests to pick up and stuff like that, if it has those elements, then yeah, I'd be like, you are an RPG, or you should at least have RPG tag associated with your game.
All right, so check out Dreamscaper. Let us know if you think it's an RPG or not. So next game, the last game I wanted to kind of talk about is called a game called Super Mash.
Oh man, the chameleon.
Did you see this?
It
game?
happened.
This is a game that takes two game types,
two genres.
Yeah, two genres, mixes them up.
Procedurally,
This is amazing that they could even do this. This boggles my mind.
It's got to be more than just two genres. I'm guessing maybe you can have an input because it provides you with a hashtag, not a hashtag, but like a little, I guess, 6-digit code of sorts that you can use. A seed. No, that's the proper term.
So
it
like
gives you a seed,
Minecraft.
That you can give to other people so that they can play the same mashup that you got. So it makes me wonder if not only are you picking the two genres, but you can also pick the art style.
Okay.
So like 8-bit, 16-bit,
Oh yeah.
3D.
So you think you can get that granular?
Because the art styles did change a lot.
Oh yeah.
And look at Mario Maker, right? It does that, right? It does the different art styles with the same thing. So yeah, this is impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
So when I saw that, I forget what game it was mashing up or what genres it was mashing up, but it was whatever and JRPG.
Yeah. not just RPG, JRPG specifically.
So I mean, everyone's I guess what everyone calls a JRPG. I think they went traditional. When I saw it, it looked like kind of a traditional turn-based type of game. So it's just kind of cool that this is even a thing. I was blown away by it when I saw it, and I don't for some reason I don't see much talk about it on the interwebs, which is kind of surprising because I think this is a very unique idea.
I am super excited for it, and absolutely this what would be funny is if they nail this so hard,
right.
Like if they absolutely execute. I'm talking like they get like 8s and 9s and maybe even an average that's 90% or higher, right? If they nail it, imagine what would happen at the Game Awards. Imagine, like, Death Stranding, forget about it. It's going to be Super Mash for every single genre.
It could be, right?
It'd be insane. That'd be awesome.
So, yeah, this was a very interesting, and even in our Discord, like, not many people were talking about this. I was like, where is the talk for Super Mash? I mean, I understand the people who like Dauntless or Sports Story or whatever. I mean, that makes sense. But Super Mash, this is like incredible.
I am totally going to Super Mash. All right. What are you gonna pick for Super Mash? I already have mine. Mine is probably gonna be fighting game JRPG.
Okay, yep.
I am hoping for Tales of Destiny style combat system. I'm hoping that's what comes up, or some Tales of.
I don't even know.
Style.
I mean, it's just I can't even think of a mash because there's just the, like I said, there's the fact that this is even a thing. I can't even comprehend what other genres could we see. I don't know, fishing and RPG. I mean, I know that's actually a thing, but is it that?
I don't want to say sports and RPG or JRPG.
We just talked about it,
Yeah,
right?
we just talked about it. So, but man, like racing.
Racing and
racing's in our
racing and JRPG.
Racing JRPG.
How the heck do you even do that?
I have no clue, man.
But can they do
Your
it?
Your car is the weapon. You are the car.
Yeah, like what do you even do?
Your options is speed up, hit the brakes as a defensive action.
What's your attack?
Your attack is step on the gas.
That's it. Just go
ramming speed. That's an ability. Ramming speed.
It's crazy. So that was the Indie World presentation in the West, because there was actually Indie World presentation in Japan that again, not many people knew about or talked about. There were a lot of different games that were discussed in that one.
Yeah, I missed that.
A lot, actually, that were missed. So Sakuna of Rice and Ruin, which is an Exceed game, was...
Exceed.
Excuse me. A lot more gameplay was shown of that. Then we have Eastward, which I'm really excited about. Eastward is another title. It's a 16-bit. I would say it's very reminiscent of Secret of Mana, but it's kind of in this post-apocalyptic world. So Eastward, and then we have also...
Eastward, they've shown before.
Yeah, but we got more footage of it. And then, again, additional footage of Sports Story.
Is this the Rice one?
That's Sakuna of Rice and Ruin, yes. Which I did play. It is
side-scroll action with RPG elements.
Yep. Played that at E3. It was quite fluid in the movement. It felt really good controlling it. But yeah, not many people know about the Indie World presentation in Japan that showed a lot more games.
Yeah.
That may or may not make it to the West, but for the RPGs, it was Sakuna of Rice and Ruin, Eastward, and Sports Story. Again, all additional footage on all of them.
They also showed off a lot of games that we already knew about or we already have access to, like Killer Queen Black or In the Blind Forest.
Yeah. So also, the Game Awards that is coming up on the 12th, they are actually having a digital consumer event.
Yes.
On the 12th. Which basically means we have access to some games or demos for free. I think it's for 2-3 days, something like that. And again, it's kind of a limited time. I think what they're trying to do is just get people into some of these games, and they're not even games that are involved in the awards. Because I know, for example, the game that I just mentioned that I'm really excited for, Eastward, is one of them. So I will definitely be giving that a shot. So just know that that's available. I'll have that link in all descriptions. Okay. Now we have upcoming RPGs. December 12th, we have Cardpocalypse. December 13th, Event Horizon Space Defense. December 17th, Riftkeeper. I believe Cardpocalypse, we just released a review on that. I'm not sure about the others, but I know Riftkeeper, if you're looking for a game preview, we have a game preview of that on the YouTubes.
Man.
You can make your decision on that. That's why we have the game previews. We just show it. There's no commentary. You like it, you don't like it. It's up to you, for you to decide. And we also have a game preview of Cardpocalypse as well.
Are we skipping this one?
I think we're going to skip that one. We have 2 YouTube questions. Did you want to talk about it?
It's up to you.
It's up to me. Why is it up to me?
I like covering it. I like breath.
Okay, all right.
Covering everything possible.
Here we go. YouTube question.
Hey.
We actually have 2, which I did not put on there. I thought I did.
You're welcome.
Reich Hen at YouTube says, hard to read UI and miniature fonts in portable mode. For example, he states Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Dark Dungeon, etc. Why are developers ignorant? Will they learn, especially now as we have the Switch Lite, which is always portable? So these portable games that have, not a messy UI, but just they have a UI with a lot of text, text-heavy UIs.
Yeah, and the font sizes are a little bit too low, or it's a little bit too not running as clearly as it could. Look, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, its text size in portable mode is not that bad.
Uh-huh.
There are way worse games than that one. For example, Xenoblade. That game is almost impossible to play in handheld.
I could play it in handheld. It is it's a little sluggish in handheld and blurry as far as even the gameplay.
And that font is small.
Right, and there's a lot of it. That's the problem. So I think also a design choice that was kind of, I guess they could have changed, is the contrasting between the text UI and the background. If there's no contrast in there, it's very hard to read it. So if you're in a darker environment, it's not bad. But when you're outdoors with kind of a really like a sunny area, I guess, that's when it really becomes difficult. So the contrasting is problematic. And in a JRPG like that, you're going to have a lot of text.
Yep.
That's what you're going to have.
But this person is right. Like, devs should include, and they're starting to, not just because the Switch is portable and has a very small screen, but they're also doing this for like other consoles, major games too. I forgot which games they were, but they just released updates for these major games that increased the font size. It had you could sort of step through sliders.
Yeah. I think if developers could just keep in mind, obviously UI is important in some games. Yeah. Just kind of streamline that a little bit. Really keep the important stuff up on the screen, that sort of thing. If you can kind of minimize what's there, and maybe instead of text, maybe just kind of graphically have something available.
Well, it's hard because it ties into user experience design.
Yeah, sure.
Sometimes you want to put in as much information as you can. Sometimes you gotta just give the user another button that they have to click to get to that information, because you don't want to overload them.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough playing a game like 2 inches away from your face,
Yeah.
I would even say, again, this is one of my favorite games, Divinity Original Sin. When you get into some of the logs and the menus, basically, it becomes really difficult to play that in handheld. But you got to remember that game was not meant to play on a small screen like that.
That's not an excuse, though.
Well, I mean, if the game came out,
that's an explanation.
It is an explanation, but I mean, why would they develop a game like that without ever having to deal with a Switch? They didn't know that they would ever be developing for such a small screen.
They had 2 years of Switch development.
Yeah, but they're not right. But they're not gonna overhaul.
They could have done something.
They're not gonna overhaul their entire. What?
No, that's not the entire thing. Look, you just increase the font size. But it's called a scrolling text window or scrolling text box, right? You increase the font size, you have to scroll down more,
and then you get this kind of a sliding, moving ticker tape.
No, the vertical slider. Right. You have to scroll down more vertically.
Yeah, but I mean that looks hideous. So then it becomes a point of, visually, does it look good or?
It becomes hideous, but you can read it. You can read it.
I think that is ugly as sin, but
Give it user's choice. Add one more option to the options menu.
okay.
Font size.
If you want ugly as sin, you can make it ugly as sin.
The the games I'm eventually going to review, not Baldur's Gate, Planescape Torment, and that other one that I really don't like. Both of them had the option to play around with the font size.
But again, yes, they did ultimately come on the Switch. They had some of that development time.
Yeah.
But then again, you're looking at completely overhauling UI, and that
Those
probably
old school games from like
way back in time.
way back in time, the pre-2000s that got ported to the Switch
Yeah.
from a PC port.
Yep.
Like
Okay.
they included
Sure.
increasing and decreasing the font size.
Did they?
Yeah, it's in both of them separately.
All right. Well,
You can increase and decrease the
I'm
font
not.
size.
I'm not sure what to tell you.
Icewind Dale, that's the other one.
Icewind Dale. That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it. Obviously, ultimately, it's up to the developer and what they want their final, product to be.
Yeah.
Whether or not they want to, have that sort of option and make their, because it ultimately reflects on their product. They don't want something where you can increase the font size to something absolutely ridiculous.
Doesn't need to be ridiculous. You're taking it a little bit too far, but I mean, doubling the font size, you're gonna potentially double the amount of vertical scrolling they have to do. But you know what? That's fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to increase the size of the text box. You can just increase the size of the font, increase the vertical scroll size, and you're done.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think in a type of game like Divinity, it's very text heavy, so maybe some of that could be utilized. But as far as UI on the main screen, it is kind of small there as well.
I think with Divinity, a big issue is how they do their dialogue choices. But once again, it's the same dialogue choice system that Icewind Dale and Planescape Torment and other CRPGs have, where it's press 1 for this sentence and press 2 for that and 3 for that. So, and Planescape Torment, you want to talk about options. Wow, some dialogues are like 9 options that you can choose from. It's insane. Insane.
But again, also in Divinity, you have kind of like profile pictures, and then right on the side of the profile pictures, you have conditions or buffs or things like that. Those are even smaller than the player icons.
Yep.
And trying to decipher those sometimes can be a real big problem. To see what status effects you have on yourself. But yeah, definitely UI is an issue in some of these games. But we also did have another question from Dan Shine on YouTube. Do you think a Switch Pro is inbound for next year?
Absolutely.
This is a multifaceted question.
Oh, what's the other parts?
So
do we want to just tackle that one first? Or?
Yeah, we can go for that. I think a Switch Pro would be great. I don't think we're going to get it.
It's happening. Look, a Switch Pro is definitely happening. I think the Switch is going to be a console that's going to stay around for the long run, kind of like an Apple, whatever, iPhone, iPad thing. It's going to be very much like an iPad, except better because it's modular. So you don't need to buy new Joy-Cons. You don't need to buy a new dock. You don't need to buy a new what have you. You just buy a new core system, which could potentially be cheap because you're not buying everything else that goes along with it. You're not buying new cables and power and all that stuff. So yeah, the brilliantly designed Switch is made specifically to be upgradable because of how modular the system is.
Right. And kind of in the same line, can the Switch compete with a PS5, Xbox Scarlet? So if you're increasing the power of the Switch, which is kind of already behind in terms of what the PS4 and the Xbox One X is, can the Switch Pro make that jump to compete with the PS5 and the Xbox Scarlet?
Yes, it can. You want to know why? Because the Switch Pro, whatever you want to call it, is not going to aim for 4K or even 1440p. It's going to still try to aim for 1080 because not all games run at 1080.
And not even that. I think not everybody has a 4K TV.
Yeah, and here's the big thing when you're talking in terms of like terafloppies and whatnot. When you're doing 4K 60, that is a significant amount more processing that you need than 1080 60 or 1080 30. Like fundamental tiers more, processing on the degree of like 10 times more.
Yeah, it's
more.
A multiplicity of... Did I just make up a word?
A magnitude greater.
Multiplicity.
I like that word. We're going to go with that. So, yes, it can. And also know that there is diminishing returns when you get into these super high teraflops that we've been in. As you've noticed, right? Like, games haven't gotten that much better looking than the previous gen. And the previous gen wasn't that much of a leap over the previous gen and that. It was because of the HD, the higher resolution.
Yeah.
But guess who has been benefiting off of high resolution for years and years and years? The PC gaming, right?
Yeah, right.
PC gaming has been doing HD resolutions
But that's
forever.
also a big monetary sink in the PC gaming universe.
No.
Comparatively to consoles, I think so.
I suppose. I mean, PC games were $50 for a long time.
I'm talking the actual rigs themselves, the actual PCs themselves.
Yeah, but you're also you're going to use the PC for other stuff. So
maybe
it's a machine that can do a whole lot of other stuff like browse the web.
Do you need something like that to browse the web?
And stuff like
I can browse the web on my phone. I can do my taxes on my phone. I don't need a I don't need a $1,500.
But you know,
rig.
I can do all of those things that you can do on your phone way better on my PC and way faster on my PC.
Okay.
I got a full keyboard here that I don't need to struggle over. I can copy and paste. I can send files. I can do so much more on PC.
You could make bulleted lists like we discussed.
Exactly.
Off
yeah.
camera.
With one button on my PC, I made a bulleted list that
I could not do on my phone.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think in terms of competing, you were talking about power. I think in terms of competing, yes, they can because of the first party games. I think that's what's always going to differentiate all of these consoles are first party games.
Well, that's what you're talking about. It's competing on a different level. I am talking about just raw horsepower.
Yeah, right.
It can be done just because all developers are already known to just scale with different power, different degrees of performance for different hardware. More and more developers are developing as if they were developing for a PC.
Mm-hmm. And then kind of in what I was just talking about, will third parties keep wanting to work with an underpowered machine, in quotes, such as the Switch? I think when they see sales numbers like they see with Switch, they're going to keep wanting to do it because it sells. Even there are bad games that are selling that are kind of buggy, kind of messes.
Very bad.
Yeah, so I think people, when they see those sale numbers, they're gonna want to make games for the system.
And it's where you determine the acceleration's coming from. Right now, more third-party developers are accelerating towards bringing their game over to Switch, not less. It's not slowing down. It's actually speeding up. So
and
that
the
lets
demand
you know.
is there.
And the demand is there. Witcher 3 just got on Switch, right? That's a big deal. That is a huge deal. Do these games, are they going to look great? Nope. They are not going to look great. But they will run on Switch. And at some point, and Nintendo has done this already with the new Nintendo 3DS, they will put a hard bar that says, for this game, right? It'll just say on the box or whatever, won't run on Switch 1.0. Must run on Switch 2.0 and greater, whatever it is that they call the Switch Pro.
Yeah. Okay. I really hope they don't make that kind of delineation where, Return of Samus will only play on the new 3DS or 2DS or whatever.
Nintendo wouldn't do that. but they will allow third parties to do that. I mean, granted, they did do it for Xenoblade, so
Yeah,
who knows?
I don't know. Yeah, it is a potential out there, but they'd be risking a lot of potential consumers because there's so many Switches already out there.
I can see that happening with third parties. I can't see that happening with Nintendo products, but I can see that happening with a Switch Pro 2. Right?
Okay.
So the third iteration of the Switch, I can easily say gating off certain games,
Yeah, I
not
can
all,
see that.
but certain games gating off the first gen Switch.
Yeah,
in,
I mean,
in
that's
favor
so-
of only running on second gen forward.
Right, that's so far down the line. I mean, I can't even. I'll be like a million years old by then.
Yeah, that'll be like 4 years from now.
I can't handle that. And then his last kind of question. Also, did you guys try the new optional Witcher 3 patch? Is it optional? Maybe because it's kind of a lot of space. I'm not sure.
To download, probably.
Yeah, optional patch for the Switch. Game runs so much better. It's kind of crazy. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Dan. I have not tried it. I don't have Witcher 3.
I don't have it either on Switch. I do have it. I look forward to seeing what Digital Foundry is going to point out about that, because they're going to cover it.
Well, they covered it initially, so it'd be interesting to see.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, comparatively, how it.
Yeah, they have done that. They have gone to games that have gotten a performance patch of some sort and reevaluated the results.
Yeah.
And already the initial results of the Switch was actually pretty promising. So yeah, they will reevaluate it, and it will probably do. And I wouldn't be shocked if the game performs and looks better.
I think it's probably a sizable patch, which probably means it's already at 32 gigs, so that's pretty substantial. So to add on another kind of quality and not HD, but kind of a graphical upgrade type of thing, it's probably you're probably looking at a large update.
Well, I don't think that's going to be the issue. When it comes to just downloading large updates and whatnot, that's not the problem for devs. The problem with devs and having large game files is the cartridge size. They've already bypassed that with a patch. So if they can install more stuff on with the patch, then they don't really care.
And The Witcher has one of the largest. I think they're the only. Are they the only ones with a 32 gig card?
I don't know if they're the only ones, but
All right, well,
one of the few.
Yeah, one of the very few. And so, I mean, to add on another update. So if you've downloaded this game completely, yeah, you're looking at you need to upgrade your SD card. That's for sure.
Yeah. Or just delete those old games that you're not playing. Just delete them. You don't need them.
All right. Now, did you want to go over what we worked on earlier?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Unless you don't want to.
I mean, we could save this.
We could save it, but it's the end of the year.
It is in the year. All right. So what we're going to talk about is the definitive top. Definitive. This is what you wanted to call it. Top 5, maybe even 11 or 12 of our Switch RPG. This is kind of our definitive list of the games RPGs that came out this year.
And we're going with top 5, so let me just section off.
Oh, here you go, your bullets now.
It made it easier.
So what we did is we each came up with our own top 5, and we kind of determined the score.
We point ranked each one.
And then we kind of meshed them together.
Yeah.
So this is just Johnny and my top 5. Now, this is kind of separate from the SwitchRPG.com stuff. This is just ours.
This is
We do our own thing.
Our brainchild of what we think is the best of the year.
I think it's a pretty good list, with the exception of one. All right. You want to start at the bottom?
Let's absolutely start in the bottom.
All right. So we have a total of 11. All right.
Whoa. We're going to 11? I thought it was top 5.
It is our top 5.
I thought we were going number 5.
No, we're going with the bottom, and then we got our top 5.
Oh, number 11 working our way
These
up.
are kind of honorable mentions. I really want to discuss. Not discuss these,
let's
but
phrase these as the honorable mentions.
Okay, well,
if we're doing that, then we have a number 12 that we didn't actually insert here yet.
We do have a number 12. I can say it. Our number 12. You want to say
it?
Ni no Kuni.
Oh, then we have a number 13.
Wait,
we have a number 13. Remember we couldn't think of this? And then we're like, oh yeah, that is a game that came out, and it is a huge game that we actually missed.
What is it?
See?
Wait, what am I missing?
Did we put this at number 13 or number 12?
Just tell me the game.
Gotta catch 'em all.
Oh, all right, so I don't know. This was an omission on both of ours.
I would definitely put Pokemon above Ni no Kuni.
Okay, so all right, you're right. So we don't have Ni no Kuni on this list, and we don't have Pokemon Sword and Shield.
So number 13, honorable mention, will be Ni no Kuni.
Okay.
Wrath of the White Witch.
And this is for 2019, Wrath of the White Witch. And then at 12,
Yep.
we have
Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Shield. Okay.
And I saw the ending of that game, all right? And I saw that game being played for like the last like 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours, leading up to the final battle, credits roll, and all that stuff. All right, so...
So neither of us even had this on our list.
Yeah, because we don't have the game, because it's another Pokemon game that didn't do enough to change things up. It did a lot.
Well, it did do a lot, but just not
enough.
Not earth-shattering type of stuff. All right, so number 11, it's a game I played, a game I had on my list. I don't think you had it on your list.
I did not.
All right, Dragon's Dogma. This is an older game.
Older game.
Came out in 1945. Dragon's Dogma. It is actually
1945.
It is a really good game.
Before video games even existed.
It is a really good game, and what was great about this is when it initially was released, it was released at a decent price. It was released, I think it was at $30. You could probably get it cheaper now, but they did the right thing to kind of really push people on this. I love the combat. It feels heavy. It feels weighted, as opposed to The Witcher 3, where it's a little light and airy. I don't feel like those attacks are a little heavier. I prefer the combat in Dragon's Dogma. I think the story's good. I will say that the environments kind of not blend together. There's not a lot of variety in the environments, although I do like the story in Dragon's Dogma. I really like this game.
Yeah.
No opinion.
I want to get into it. I waited for reviews to come out, and I know it's based on the older version, but this is for PC, they made a better version of Dragon's Dogma, and that's what this one's based off of, is the better PC version. Maybe it's not PC, maybe it's a different console, but it's not the initial Dragon's Dogma. It's the sort of reworked, patched, fixed a little bit here and there.
I forget what
version.
We just have on here Dragon's Dogma. I think there's actually like an extended title on
exactly,
that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it is, but Dragon's Dogma, I definitely recommend playing this.
Yeah. I can stand behind that.
Yeah. Next, did we have this on our... No.
Number 10.
This is, again, just me. I'm all alone here.
This is all you.
Final Fantasy 12. I think this is definitely one to play if you're into Final Fantasy games. Although it is one of... And sleeping? Yeah. Although it is one that kind of broke the mold for Final Fantasy games. So traditionally they were always, turn-based. And then this one's kind of went a little rogue and went kind of active time battle-ish, kind of.
It's real time, but there's
cooldowns and...
It's an auto combat, so it's effectively turn-based, but things are automatically happening, so you have to queue it up.
And I will say that initially when this game came out, I still have my original PlayStation 2 copy. I literally played it once. I despise this game. Yeah. I really hated it because I was I was a little old school, so I liked my traditional Final Fantasies, and when this came out, it was very different. Although now I really appreciate it because I think this kind of spawned off a lot of other games. I would even say it spawned off the combat in Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it spawned off a lot of other creations out there.
This is a great big granddaddy of a whole lot of awesome games, and it's definitely a great game. It's a little dated in archaic in some of the ways that you play it. I still do not like how you sort of roam around the world and interact. The world isn't fully, or it's not seamless whatsoever, and the zones that you're roaming through are relatively small.
And the corridor.
And there's a lot of corridoring, and some of the worlds that are that comprise of multiple zones, that are non-seamlessly connected to one another. Some of these environments are huge, and thankfully they added in a speed up option so you can increase the game speed. So you can really quickly get through these areas. That really helps. This also has the 12 Zodiac stuff that they added to it. So they changed things up. This is better than than 12, the original 12.
It's better than my
No question
PlayStation
about
2
it.
version, for
There's
sure.
more stuff in there. There's better graphics in here. This is for the PlayStation version or the Xbox One version. They did stuff, and then they added even more stuff. And this one is sort of the definitive version of those things. This is one of the best iterations of Final Fantasy 12 that you can get. Period. So it is a quality entry. Even though it's at number 10, it is quality.
Yeah, so like you had said with the corridoring, it has a great narrative. It's got a great story, so definitely recommend that. And then we have number 9, again, all by myself here. This was my vote. And yeah, Atelier Ryza. This is actually a really beautiful game. Now, I don't put it beautiful in terms of where some environments of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 are and The Witcher 3 are, but I feel like this is a really good, beautiful game. Now, I will also say, yes, very crisp. I will also say that it is a little more expensive. So the entry point for price is a little higher than I would say, because it's not in our world. Atelier may be a recognizable name.
Yep.
But in terms of maybe some casual people who just want to get into these types of games, they will look at this and be like, I don't recognize this, and kind of just pass it off.
What do you mean by expensive? It's a
full price $60 game.
That's fine.
Yeah, you're okay with that. Yeah.
I am okay with
The quality's
niche
there.
games.
Yep.
As long as the quality is there, I will pay the price, because I recognize that in order for these niche types of franchises to exist, they need money backing of some degree, because they're not going to sell as many copies.
Yep.
Do it. Don't lower your price. I will pay for it as long as the quality is there. If the quality ain't there, I ain't buying it.
Yeah. Well, I think the quality is there. I recommend that everyone at least take a look at it, see if it's something you're into. And yeah, definitely take a look at it.
Yeah.
Number 8. I did not have this on my list.
This is on my list. Tales of Vesperia, Definitive Edition.
I think we've mentioned this in every single talking point today.
This wasn't mentioned in your list at all?
Nope, I did not have this on there.
It wasn't.
I definitely played this game.
Yeah.
I like the story.
Story's awesome.
Yeah, I like the story.
It's not like phenomenal, but it's really good.
I like the story, and I don't know, just something.
The character's really good.
Something wasn't there. It just didn't. It didn't drive me there, and it's with another game that should be on my list, and it's not on my list. It just, I couldn't. There was some sort of a wall there, and I just couldn't get into it.
How far did you get?
I want to say, I played.
Did you watch the tree blossom?
I don't know what that means.
Then you only played like 2 hours of the game.
No. I definitely played. I played more than that. I think I know what you're talking about.
One of the first things that happens.
Yeah.
You get it out of the city.
Yep.
You go to. Did you watch the stampede happen?
Yep.
All right. So the stampede thing happens, and then you go to the forest.
Okay.
And you fight the bugbear thing.
Yep. I know what you're talking about.
You take the bugbear's claw.
There's a town and the trees up at the top.
There's a huge. The town is like surrounding the tree.
Yes. All right. I did do that.
Tree blossom.
Yes.
Did you make it to the port city?
That's where I'm at.
You're still in like the first 5 hours.
But
of the game.
I can't get into it though.
Wow.
That's where I'm at. I'm at that port city where I think there's like a king or something that you have to kind of talk to or sneak into the castle or something.
See, the story in that game actually doesn't get like interesting until you sort of resolve the first arc.
And that is probably at what, the 20-hour mark?
It's right around, I would say the 20 to 30 hour mark. Yeah.
So that hasn't gripped me enough for me to push forward.
And it's also just prior to that, probably about 15 hours into the game, 10 to 15 hours into the game, when you learn about fatal strikes.
Okay.
And that they kind of slowly expand the combat system. And that game had the way they did their item system. Really awesome. I really appreciated it because you have to equip the items in order to learn a skill.
Oh, right.
Or to be able to gain access to a skill. And then as you use the item over and over again, you gain, skill points or learning points or whatever. Eventually you master that item, which permanently gives you access to that skill that you can then socket as part of your character build. So it was a really cool system. It's not new. I think they did that system in Final Fantasy IX. But to do that along with the crafting, because then you are hunting down certain monsters to get certain crafting components that you then can make upgrades for certain weapons that give you access to better or different skills and stuff like that. So it was a very deep Tales game. It was also multiplayer, and the first Tales that was HD, and they built a new engine, or seemingly a new engine for that game compared to all the prior to the Tales games that came before that. The combat was like a little bit slower. I don't know why I'm talking this much about it. That game is awesome. If you have friends and you're looking for a co-op RPG, get that game. You will not be disappointed.
That's my problem. I have no friends that play RPGs. But I will say the intro song, I absolutely love that intro song.
Yeah.
I actually, I didn't cover it, but I learned how to play that song because I really liked it. But yeah, Tales of Vesperia falls to number 8. Maybe that's my fault. Whatever. Number 7, we have Bloodstained.
This is on both of our lists.
Yep, Bloodstained.
Oh, wait.
Nope.
Just on my list.
Just on your list. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. And I will tell you why it's not on my list is because the Switch version shipped broken. Now they have dedicated their time to fixing it.
They said that like the day of Switch's release or days.
It was not the day of, because
after.
we when I say we waited a while for it.
It was 1 week.
Okay, I have the physical version of that cartridge, and it's essentially useless because it needs to rely totally on updates.
Yep.
So because there was a game-breaking bug that it shipped with. Yeah. I don't know. I think in my opinion, this game just kind of shipped broken.
Look, there have been Nintendo games that have shipped with game-breaking bugs that
recently?
They had to.
Not recently.
Potentially some recent. I know Fire Emblem had at one point a game-breaking bug. Fire Emblem 3 Houses.
It's off our list.
It's off our list.
Exit out.
They then it was a patch that added it in, and then a patch that fixed that.
But that's different.
That is different.
That is very different.
Well, what was it? Metroid Prime. Not Metroid Prime.
Federation Force.
No. Other M. Metroid Other M had a game-breaking bug.
No one played
and
that
it could only trigger when you went through the exploration in a certain way. And I actually did that. and I got that game-breaking bug, and I didn't want to send in my save file, so I had to restart the game from scratch.
I will say, though, that I think there is a reason for that game-breaking bug, or just the kind of the development mess that it was, because it was initially kickstarted for the Wii U.
Yeah.
And, the Wii U came and went really quick, and then they promised it over to the Switch. So maybe they had to change their development tactics.
They went through multiple teams to make that game. It was not a one team doing everything. There was
many hands were in it then.
There were many hands, many core teams. Was Iga there the whole time? Yeah, but not he can't do the whole game by himself.
No. But I will say that visually it looks cool. I think the combat mechanics are there. Very reminiscent of Symphony of the Night. I mean, everything is just there. It's just. I don't know. I couldn't vote for it. I couldn't do it.
I voted for it because the company and the developers said
they paid you.
They didn't pay me. They said that they promised that they're going to work on that above all the other systems,
which is cool.
First and foremost, exactly.
Which is cool.
And I have faith in. They were confident, 5+ years ago when they did the Kickstarter, that they were going to deliver a awesome homage to Symphony of the Night. They did.
They did.
And they also stated with confidence that they were going to fix the Switch version, and I am just standing behind them because, they held up one end of the promise, and it's just a matter of time. And they probably already did, because we don't know, because we don't have the Switch version.
I have the Switch version.
Oh, you do have the Switch?
Yeah, I have the physical.
So load it up, and you could solve this answer for it.
I'm just so upset.
You're full of spite.
I'm so upset. I even cried a little bit to myself.
But look, having it on there and on our number
That's because you voted
7.
it so high.
number 7. That's fine.
Yeah. No. I think it's where it needs to be.
Yeah.
Number 6.
Number 6.
The Witcher 3.
These are still honorable mentions.
Honorable mention. We have The
Honorable
Witcher 3 as an honorable mention.
Honorable mention to our top 5.
Now,
Number 6.
This is probably The Witcher 3 is probably my top 3 RPG ever for me.
Yeah, not for me though.
Okay. I love the story behind The Witcher. Even reading the books, I'm going to be one of those book snobs.
Yep.
I love Geralt, his history, his backstory. I love it all. And The Witcher 3, whether or not it runs, it runs.
It runs well.
Yeah. And like you had mentioned, Digital Foundry kind of did their thing, and they even came and said, it runs best in handheld, but it runs pretty well.
It runs pretty well, but so I played the game after they patched some of the frame rate issues that are on the PS4, and even then the combat did not feel good. And this is me coming out of Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Because it released the same year as Bloodborne.
Well, with those type of games, those rely on, they're combat-oriented games.
Yeah, and I played Bloodborne first, and then I played through, and I did not complete Witcher 3 because, man, the combat just did not feel as good as Bloodborne. It did not feel as good as any of the Dark Souls games.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, I was just going to say you could say that for Dark Souls 3, 1 or 2.
1, 2. It's a very simple combat system. Mm-hmm. You have access to the same 4 spells. I think it's 3 or 4 spells.
I think it's 3. It's been a little bit since I played it.
Yeah, and you can augment them to a certain degree, and they do some different deviations as to what they do, and that's cool and all that. But the fun, and you have the little crossbow thing. Yeah, the pea shooter, like pew pew. But the game, I don't know what it was. It was more about a game to be immersed in, rather than having a fun combat system or anything like that. And I just didn't really care for the characters.
Wow, we have the total opposite look on this game because I absolutely love the characters. I think the world feels alive in my...
Oh, it does. Some of the quests are pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. The quest lines it became a little bit of Scooby-Doo-ish where you're doing a quest line and there's kind of like a twist, but that's even in the books that kind of happens. But I don't know. I think even the side quest, the meaningless side quest, felt meaningful. Yeah,
but we are talking about Witcher 3 for the Switch,
right?
Which to have this kind of big giant experience when you already have something similar, like Breath of the Wild, big giant epic scale thing.
Yeah, right. I mean, they're both open world, but narratively they're not on the same level.
They're not. But they're both on the level of immersion, getting the player to feel like they're in a different world. And Breath of the Wild does it with a more minimalistic approach, and therefore giving you really spectacular combat, really spectacular performance in most areas of the game. Whereas in The Witcher, it's giving you like the immersion, but it's not giving you and with the Switch, it's that immersion gets hurt because graphically a lot of things are pared down a whole lot.
Yeah. I mean, I could, but I mean, it is The Witcher 3 on the Switch.
Hey, look, this is on number 6.
Yeah,
no, and we're scoring it based on the merits of the Switch version, not on the merits of the game itself. If it was on the merits of the game itself,
it'd be a little higher, maybe.
It'd be way higher, and it wouldn't be outside of the top 5.
And it's also a port, so we kind of have to,
exactly.
Knock it down a peg.
And who knows how well the patch has improved things.
Right. I wouldn't know. So now,
our top 5.
Top 5.
The actual 5.
I'll let you introduce number 5.
Yeah. So this game, which belonged on so many of them polls, and there were so many of them polls that shouldn't have belonged there, and this game absolutely should have been on there. Cadence of Hyrule, Crypta the Necro Dancer.
Okay. You almost have me. Okay, you almost have me as
There's
this.
character progression. There's NPCs. You get quest lines. There's a big giant open world to explore. There are dungeons. They are procedurally generated. There are boss battles. How is this not an RPG?
Okay.
You have gear and equipment. You have a currency system that can be used when you re-roll and go through the world again because of the roguelike elements that are in there.
Sure. Okay.
I'm talking a separate currency system from the rubies.
Right. I will have to give another look at this game. Okay. Is Crypt of the Necrodancer an RPG as well? They're essentially clones of each other. No?
They are close, but this is very different from Crypt of the Necrodancer. It feels very much like a Zelda game, not so much, it's definitely feels the core mechanics of the beat, rhythm, action, roguelike stuff is very much Crypt of the Necrodancer stuff. But if you go at it playing this game and never knew what Crypt of the Necrodancer is, you'd be like, yeah, this is a really cool, weird Zelda game.
All right.
You would recognize that as being a Zelda game.
And there was a little bit of a discussion, very little bit, kind of a discussion on Twitter.
Very long discussion.
Not very
All
long.
over the place.
Well, we definitely
had one.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And we even commented about this thing.
Yes, Twitter discussion. I think it was for what was it for? Roguelike. Yes, and they had mentioned where is...
Crypt of the Necrodancer?
No, where is Cadence of Hyrule? And I said it was not an RPG, and they kind of sent a gift back at me, like, say, what are you talking about? And I'm gonna give it a second look. Okay, I'll give it a second look. I'll come back with it.
And it has co-op.
Oh, here we go.
Just saying, it has co-op.
You can play with your non-existent friends. So I will give it another look, see, and I'll do a little bit of homework. Okay. Yeah. But it's at number 5.
It's at number 5. It barely made it onto the list. Look, that game, if there was no question about how RPG it was, if there was no question, I agree, it's a little bit of it takes a little bit of extra explanation to convince. But if it wasn't so hard of a sell, then it would have been probably way higher on this list. I would argue potentially spot 3 or 2 on this list.
Wow.
That's how good the game is.
Okay.
The game is
Am I going to have
awesome.
to buy this game?
The game is awesome.
All right.
It's just legit awesome.
I have homework to do. All right. Number 4.
Yep.
I did not have this game on my list.
You did not.
I did not have
You
it.
removed it from your list.
I removed
for
it.
weird reasons. No, yeah.
No, it's the same reason I had for Tales of Vesperia.
What?
You're looking at the same game, yes.
You talked on this show
About?
multiple times about this game.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest XI
S.
S, Echoes of Lucid Age, Definitive Edition.
I didn't put it on my list.
Ridiculous title.
This is way too many words.
Way too many.
But I didn't have it on my list. Okay. I appreciate this game for what it is. Absolutely.
And you said you were having a good time.
I was. Until it became repetitive. In my opinion, it just became like, all right, I feel like the story's going nowhere.
How far did you get?
I want to say about 10 hours. It's basically the demo, okay? I'm sorry. 10 hours is a substantial amount of time. Maybe not in terms of
I agree.
Dragon Quest XI S.
Yes.
But 10, maybe even more. I'm going to say maybe 15. But even so... 15 hours is a long time in order for me to know whether I like a game or not.
It should not take longer than 10 to 15 hours for a game to get good. The game should have gotten good hour 1, and I already mentioned this with my feelings on Persona 5. I've mentioned the counter to that, which is Xenoblade 2, which is a big, epic JRPG that got good hour 1. It was good.
And it progressively got even better.
And it got just better and better and better, yeah.
And the pacing on this is just not there for me. I'm not sure what it is. It's just...
I will say this. So my brother has this game on the PS4, and yeah, there was a lull. And then he kept sticking through it because he's a very stubborn person. And it's actually the last notice update I got from him is that it's picking up again. It's starting to get really interesting storyline wise.
He's probably at hour 30, 40.
I don't know which hour he's on.
Well, that's
but,
that's just too long. It is.
Well,
I mean, I don't know. For me, it's just the music in it. I love the music.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't deny that the music, the orchestral addition in there is perfect, and I love that part of it. I like the look of it. I like the anime aesthetic. I really don't mind that at all.
I love it.
I don't mind that.
And the music's top notch.
Yep.
And they went top-notch quality on the production. So the reason why this is actually showing up on number 4 is because I pushed it up so high, even though I don't own it. I mean, my brother has it on a different console, but I looked into it. I played the demo on the Switch version.
Sure.
This game is absolute quality. It is a quality made game. It is a big, large, epic scale RPG, not intended for the adult connoisseur that is looking for something more mature. You can enjoy it if you are, but the target audience is, you can tell it's more for kids or teenagers. That's fine though. Everyone can enjoy it, but that's the target, right? So it doesn't surprise me that you're getting lost in it. It is a game that requires too big of a time sink, especially a big time sink for things to start getting good. Mm-hmm. However, kids, teenagers have that time sink available to them. They don't mind. I
mean, I had the time. I played through Fire Emblem. I had no issues with that game.
Fire Emblem's a much more mature story than Dragon Quest.
No doubt about that.
The opening cutscene is some lady stabbing the dude Nemesis.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that was awesome.
That was awesome on the battlefield. But I mean, the time wasn't an issue for me. It's just, I guess maybe it is because I figured, after hour 20, I should be into it, and I just wasn't.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't. But
that's number 4.
Number 4.
Number 3.
Number 3.
That's your pick.
What do you mean? That's my pick.
That is your pick.
It was also on your list as well.
You boosted it the most.
I boosted it the most.
I definitely boosted it too.
Because this is my all-time favorite game, Divinity: Original Sin 2. I mean, it's mentioned every week on this podcast, and it will be forever mentioned on this podcast.
Yeah. It is a phenomenal game. Whether it's a phenomenal Switch game, that's a different story. But in general, the game is phenomenal.
I think it is a phenomenal Switch game because it is a game and that you can take on the go. If I ever want to, I can take my story anywhere I want to. With no issues whatsoever.
It has the cross save stuff. There's multiplayer in it. I mean, it's Divinity Original Sin 2. Not only is it a great single player experience, it is an even better multiplayer experience because your party members can make decisions on stuff that can kind of screw you over, and that's fun.
That is fun. It is fun to mess with each other.
It doesn't end the game. You can still play through the game, even though they killed them very important NPCs. You can still truck along and be like, whatever.
Right, but that decision...
I'm the Red Prince.
But that decision is forever ingrained in that playthrough, which is perfect. So, I mean, we've talked ad nauseum about Divinity Original Sin 2, get into it. It's awesome.
All right.
Number 2, and I think for the most part, 1 and 2 are in agreement here for the both of us.
Yeah. I would say so. Well,
no, you had yours a lot. Okay. Well, these are my number 1 and 2 anyway, so it looks like I won out anyway.
We both agree that number 2 belongs on this list. We just don't agree on where.
The ranking, yeah.
But, I'm happy with the top 5 as it results because I did squeeze in Cadence of Hyrule. So I'm happy with that.
Number 2, Children of Morta.
Yeah.
Children of Morta is one of my kind of... not a guilty pleasures. That's the wrong word for it. Just one of kind of a game that...
It's your latest fling.
Yeah, it is my latest fling. I can't stop playing it.
It's a crush. You're crushing hard.
It is so good, man. It is like I love the narrator, like his grumbly voice. Oh, I love it. It's so good.
It's simple and good, and it's got a very good loop to it where you just go through the dungeon, you die, but you're kind of okay with that because that means you can spend that gold that you've earned through that run.
Right, and that's the thing. I mean, typically I don't like roguelikes because of they're obtuse. They're a little
Start from square zero.
They're very
again.
mean. They're very mean, and this is not very mean.
No.
This is kind of your roguelike experience, but almost more. It's more action RPG oriented.
Yeah.
It's and I love the story in there because again, a lot of times with roguelikes, they're very episodic. Their stories aren't really there, but this one has, I think, a really decent story behind it.
Yeah, has a nice narrative. It continues forward, and there's a lot there, and you're kind of wondering because it seems like they're triggering these elements off of seemingly meaningless runs.
Yep.
But yet more story developments happen, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also a bit worried if they're going to run out because I'm getting a lot of story development.
Right, you're wondering what's going to in the end game.
Yeah.
What are they going to show me?
Yeah, because I know like I'm still in one area, and there's still like more major areas, and these areas have sub areas within them.
Yep.
And you're still trucking along on these, and you know that there's more later on, and yet you're still getting like a good chunk of story delivered to you on things. So it's a really good action roguelike RPG.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Definitely recommend this one. Number one.
Number one.
It's a game we haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah, we have. We've mentioned this so many times.
I mean, it's pretty obvious. Fire Emblem Three Houses. I mean,
By a landslide.
it is really by a landslide.
It almost doubled the previous points. It's
Well, for the most, and the reason is because we both had this for number one,
yeah.
and deservedly so. There are so many different story arcs in this game. This dating simulator. It is really. It's
I wouldn't call it dating.
no, not. It depends.
You're trying. Tea drinking simulator.
Oh, there's a lot of tea drinking.
I don't know, a lot of tea parties happening.
But it is the one drawback. Okay, there is a drawback to this game.
Yeah, don't play in hard mode.
Well, that too. But the battles were very repetitive. Meaning, go kill this commander, go kill this main guy, or eliminate the party, eliminate the party, eliminate the party.
Are you talking about the regular battles or the story battles?
I'm talking about. Well, I mean, essentially,
There's a difference.
Essentially,
You can avoid the non-story
right.
battles.
But essentially, most of them were wipe the party out, wipe the enemies out. Most of them.
Most of them. Sure.
I would say a good 80% of them.
It's called route the enemy.
My apologies.
Yep.
My apologies. I'll get my terminology right the next time. So yeah, that was, to me, there was no variation there, and I really would like to see some more variation. You know,
Different objectives.
yeah, some of them were escort this individual to this space, but most of them were route the enemy, and I wish there was a little more variety there.
Yeah, I can agree with you, but this is also Fire Emblem 101 type stuff,
Sure.
and they would have to rethink things a little bit rather than just painting sides as good and bad, like very distinctly good versus bad,
Right.
or involve some other type of mechanic. What I would love for them to do, and this is something that is very much in the wheelhouse that Fire Emblem could do, is incorporate whoever it is that you do not kill within a combat, you can then capture and further interrogate, take to your prison hub, whatever place, and potentially convince them to join your cause, and then they can eventually become a party member, someone that's part of your little war group.
But you could recruit, and you have, I bet, a ton of students.
You can recruit a lot. The problem, I think Fire Emblem has a bigger core problem. I think the biggest core problem is the permadeath mechanic. Now, it doesn't...
Because it doesn't mean permadeath. It means you can't recruit them, basically, because the characters are still in the world.
They're still in the world until you kill them a second time.
Say what?
So if they die before part 1, then they will reappear in part 2. When they die in part 2, they are gone.
They are gone forever.
They are gone forevers. Part 2 is the death. But if they die in part 1, they will not be playable whatsoever from that point forward. They will be around for storyline based stuff to a certain degree.
So maybe that's
and this is all dependent on if you're playing on classic mode.
Right. And so that might be where I did lose a character, and it was probably in part 1, and I remember seeing that in that individual around. I'm like, wait a minute, I thought he was dead.
And you're playing on classic?
Yes.
Yeah, and so that's been a lifelong Fire Emblem issue, and they inserted the casual mode, I think since Awakening, or maybe the one just after Awakening. I could be wrong on which one that they inserted it in, but they inserted casual mode, and I hate to say this, but that is the better way to play. I still, for whatever stupid, silly, stubborn reasons, I still pick classic mode. But casual mode is the better way to play because the whole notion, because it's either you play the game and you let no one die, or you restart the battles over and over and over again so that no one dies.
Or you can reverse time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty hard to lose a character, to be honest with you.
Well, if you're playing on easy
hardcore
mode,
geez,
like this dude over here.
Oh boy.
But there are plenty of other issues, but the core of it, and a lot of it, is with the combat system and how they handle combat. It's just been the same, relatively sameness throughout the franchise, and they could definitely change it up more so than what they have. What they have done, great. I love the combat arts that you get. I think they're called combat arts. Mm-hmm. The combat arts that you get access to, and the gamut system's all right. So it's definitely adds more to it, and there's more things to consider, especially when you can use your weapon durability as mechanic, and that spells are learned permanently. That's awesome stuff too. But they can do more, and what they should do more should be rethinking things in a way that does it better. There is tons of ways to do what they're doing better, because in war, people should die. They should die. Your party members should. I know you have written such glorious characters, and they have.
But they could write that in the storyline and develop the battles around it somehow.
They could, and I think it's because they are so married to their characters that they have written for these games, the many characters that they have, that they don't want to allow death to happen. And yes, that is casual mode. You can go through casual mode and death won't actually happen, but they're still doing things wrong when characters aren't dying when they actually should die in a war game that is taking itself seriously.
Right, and these are kids.
Yeah, and look, the opposite to this is the other game, the other franchise that they are responsible for, which is Advance Wars, where things can die, and it's fine that they die. It doesn't set you so far behind that they died. You're okay with it. So that's what I'm trying to say. They should.
But there's no personality in those things that die.
There's no personality. Exactly. You don't feel a connection to the tank unit, to the mech unit, to the infantry unit.
There's no narrative design behind that one particular tank.
Like, all right, you keep going. Oh, you died. All right, next.
So that having those sort of mechanics in Fire Emblem, that would change the story probably quite a bit.
It would change the story. More importantly, it would change the feel of the game and of the combat, and they would have to rethink a whole lot of things. But look, this Fire Emblem, they kind of played things safe regarding the battle system in order to do things very different for the metagame, and the metagame is phenomenal.
Yeah, and that's where this takes off, is the metagame. Yeah. The battle system is, I hate to call it basic, but that's the way I feel. It's kind of straightforward, basic. There's really nothing special about it. I think.
Yeah, it's good. It's solid. Yeah. Good. Gets the job done. And if you play in hard mode, you're going to be challenged. Like, you will be challenged. It is very, very good. I'm so glad that they have the reverse time ability.
Mechanic,
They absolutely needed that. Many Fire Emblems ago, and it's worthwhile to have in this one, and that definitely helps the combat go through. It's back to the saving grace of the game, which is the storyline, the metagame, the whole teaching out of school, recruiting students. That is just beautiful. Yeah. And these characters are awesome.
All of them.
Every single one.
I mean, there may be one or two that I really don't like.
They actually end up being awesome characters. See, even the ones that I hated, I thought were so boring, one-dimensional, had nothing else to them. Eventually, if you just take it to the next notch, the next support level, the next prologue.
They like level up pretty much, you know.
It's not about them leveling up. It's about their storyline.
That's what I mean. It's like
actually,
they level up almost.
They just go from being like, this is not hitting on my blip radar whatsoever, to all of a sudden you do a prologue quest,
Hey-o.
and then some story segments happen, dialogue happens. You're like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's why you were doing that for all this time. That's why you're so like miserable of a character.
Yep.
I feel your pain.
And it's number one. I mean, it's just obvious. This is the ultimate RPG to play this year, without a doubt.
This year, last year, it is, and probably next year, it is phenomenal.
Yeah, as far as
good.
next year is concerned, we have no idea. I mean, there's nothing on the horizon.
There is the Outer Worlds.
Yeah, maybe whenever that decides to show up. But again, it's just another port. I'm talking.
It is a port.
I want more Nintendo first party RPGs. You know, we will be getting Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. We'll be getting Trials of Mana, which is not an exclusive, but we will be getting it.
Yeah. Trials of Mana is hopefully going to be awesome, but it's not. I don't think it's going to come up to Fire Emblem.
No. Maybe. I hope.
That'd be great.
But that is going to do it. That is our list of all lists.
Woo.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. It was a long one.
A very long one.
A very long one.
Yeah.
But we hit on a lot of major points in here. I will try and put timestamps in there for anyone who's interested in getting into something specific.
Apologies.
No apologies at all.
We take it back.
We take it all back. Like I said, that's going to wrap up the episode for today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to everyone who sent in their questions and comments. Keep them coming. Remember, you can listen to the show each and every week at switchrpg.com, or you can subscribe on your favorite podcast app. If you listen on an app, please give us a rating and review. We want to climb up those charts on the platforms, so your support would be amazing. And finally, you can head over to switchrpg.com for all your Nintendo Switch RPG needs. You're dancing.
I'm dancing.
Until next time, goodbye.